some overtime to get the time right. Had to lose a little mind to get my mind right. Finally realized, but in hindsight, you wanted the limelight. Me priority never once. You kept close but never really wasn't. I accept you like a focus. Agree with all your choices. Needed you to need me. Needed you to see me. Until I found the right direction, I think my reflection would agree. Had to find the me in me.
The Short Sport by King David Jordan.
Everybody talking about they the best. Everybody talking about us. B.I.G. walking the God we trust. As long as our name is listed in the book, we good. Show me the list. Hey. Everybody talking about they the best. We the best, yes. Everybody talking about us. B.I.G. walking the God we trust. As long as our name is listed in the book, we good.
Alright, so today we got a crazy show today. Now, there's a lot of breaking news been going on. It's a whole lot of breaking news that's going on right now. Right now, a whole bunch of breaking news going on right now. Then we gotta find out what's going on with everything. Man, we got breaking news. We got coaches leaving. We got players leaving. We got teams switching players. We got all things going. We got NFL playoffs coming tonight. We got a lot to talk about. We got a change in the landscape of the sport. So show me the list. Let's go. Show me the list. Show me the list. Everybody talking about they the best.
Everybody talking about us. B.I.G. walking the God we trust. As long as our name is listed in the book, we good.
Show me the list. Show me the list.
Hey.
Everybody talking about they the best.
We the best, yes. Everybody talking about us. B.I.G. walking the God we trust. As long as our name is listed in the book, we good.
Hope everybody's doing well. Bo will be joining me. I think Bo will be joining me a little bit later here at the King Bo Show. Hope everybody's having a good week, a good day, man. And we're having a fantastic week this way. And I told you, but it's a lot going on right now. It's a whole lot going on. And man, it's really interesting to see the landscape of everything that's happening in sports right now, and it is a fun time to be a sports host. Around the summer, I might be trying to dig for stories, but this ain't one of those times. This time we have plenty to talk about. We got the NFL playoffs that we'll be talking about. We got breaking news that we'll be talking about. Moving in the NBA, does it shift the guard of who's the best team in the East? Man, we got a lot. It's the Lakers making trades. Miami just made a trade. We're going to talk about all that stuff coming up and much more. Dallas, the things that's going on in Dallas could be affecting the Hawks. Not the Hawks. I'm sorry. The things that's going on in Big D could be affecting, oh my God. Oh, Jesus. Could be affecting the Falcons. Dallas could be affecting the Falcons. We'll talk about how Dallas' decision could affect the Atlanta Falcons. Man, it's your boy KDJ. I hope you guys are having a great Wednesday evening. And let's go ahead and get started, man. There it is. The new, that is the new stuff that's going on right now, man. Welcome to the King Bo Show. I'm your host, King Joe. Bo will be joining me in a little bit. We'll be getting into a lot of things that's been going on in the sports world today. And you guys can be a part of the show. That's right. You guys can be a part of a show. Well, King, how could I be a part of the show? I don't have a link. I ain't one of the hosts. That's right. We have a phone number that you guys can call and be a part of the show. And that number is 478-569-6110. Once again, that number is 478-569. You can call in. Put it on the screen. 478-569-6110. 478-569-6110. We want to welcome you to tonight's show. And tonight's show has been crazy. Can we say crazy? It's been crazy. And we're starting the show really in a sad mood because we had whole bunch of topics over here that we're just gonna go down and talk about. But you know what I'm saying? All those topics are kind of null and void. Why? Why do you ask? Why are all those topics null and void? As soon as I can find my pointer, it'd be great right now because I forgot my mouse pointer. Where is it at? I can't even see it. That's crazy. Oh, there it is. Okay, I see it now. All right, but we got a lot going on. But before we get to that, let's go ahead and hit them with some breaking news. Give it to me. Oh, it's not gonna give it to me. It's not. Bo will be joining me a little bit later. He'll definitely be joining me a little bit later to give us. But we got some breaking news getting ready to hit in the line, and we got some breaking news. Give it to me. That's right. We got some breaking news getting ready to come, and this breaking news is happening. That's right. Jim Harbaugh accepts the head coaching job with the Chargers. Jim Harbaugh accepts the coaching job with the Chargers. And this is coming from Adam Schefter and ESPN as they talked about Jim Harbaugh accepting the head coaching job and what that means to the whole coaching job. He's leaving Michigan and the Michigan Wolverines, and he's accepted the head coaching job with the Los Angeles Chargers. According to Chris Rim at ESPN, sources tell ESPN's Adam Schefter on Wednesday, Harbaugh was considered among the Chargers' most desirable candidates. Now, you got to remember, they were looking at Harbaugh as, as a big guy. And we'll talk about the ramifications of what this means for Michigan. But, Harbaugh, I think they had, I was here earlier today that Harbaugh was going on another, if I'm not mistaken, I was hearing that Harbaugh was going on another interview with another NFL team today. And then, sometimes the agents play these games to try to get, the most money to go ahead and close the deals and be like, hey, we got other teams that are looking at you. But, I was here earlier today that Harbaugh was basically really sitting there and interviewing other teams that was going on. So now we see that Jim Harbaugh accepts the head coaching job with the Chargers. And I think that's a really, really big deal for the Chargers, for them to get Jim Harbaugh in that situation and for them to have him accepted that job as the new coach of the Chargers. Harbaugh was considered the most desirable. He was the front runner for the Chargers positions out of all the candidates. He's had success at Stanford, Michigan, in the NFL with San Francisco. He took them to a Super Bowl. I think he lost to Baltimore, if I'm not mistaken. I think he lost to Baltimore. There's also the Chargers connection. He played quarterback for the team for 2 seasons in 1999 and 2000. Harbaugh has a 144-42 record in the college ranks, winning 3 Big Ten championships and Michigan's first national championship this year since 1997. And most importantly, and most, impressively that he did, he beat the Tide. That's really the most important thing that he did. He beat the Tide. All the other stuff is great. But one thing he did do was beat the Tide. He destroyed the Tide, and he gave the Tide their loss, which propelled Michigan to win their first national championships. Let's see. The Chargers are scheduled to play the Ravens next season at SoFi, which is now officially will be a matchup up between Jim and John Harbaugh again. when Jim took over the 49ers, he was rebuilding their team, which tumbled from the NFL's elite and missed the playoffs for 8 straight seasons. And that was the San Francisco 49ers. Yeah, I remember back in the day, 49ers used to be like, oh, man, I hated the 49ers because I was a Falcons fan. See, y'all don't realize, back in the day, I was a Falcons fan. I wasn't always a Cowboys fan. I really was a Falcons fan. Yeah, I remember too legit. That was my last year. After that, I was too legit to quit. You know what I'm saying? I had to quit. You know what I'm saying? I was too legit to quit. I had to quit. You know what I'm saying? That was it for me. I was done. I was too legit to quit. I didn't get to see the Dirty Birds Falcons already off the team. You know what I'm saying? That's not true. That's not true. I did at least have I was at least there for the Mike Vick Falcons. After Mike Vick was fighting the dogs, it's definitely over with. Like every time I got ready to leave the Falcons would do something to break me back. You know what I'm saying? After the too legit, then they came back and they came back with the Jamal Anderson, the Dirty Birds. I was like, okay, I'll come back, Falcons. Then that was afterwards. Then they came back with the Mike Vick. And then when they came back, Vic, I was like, yeah, I'm with you. I'm with my boy Vic. We ride it out. Let's go. Let's say no Mike Vic is fighting dogs. And I was like, yo, this franchise is cursed. The franchise is cursed. That's right. And a lot of times the Falcons will get defeated. And one of the teams that they will get beat by is none other than the San Francisco 49ers. And I got to shout out one of my loyal listeners out there. What's up to my man Aiden? Aiden said he has his own podcast. So if you get a chance, y'all go check out Aiden. You gonna invite me on the podcast, Aiden? You gonna let me come on the podcast and be a guest on your podcast? You gotta let me come. You gotta let me be a guest on your podcast. I'm proud of you, big guy. Proud of Big Aiden says he has his own podcast. Y'all make sure y'all support my man Aiden Johnson, young man right there. At I think he's in Sandersville, either Wrightsville. Where you from, man? You Wrightsville or Sandersville? Let me know which one you from. But shout out to Aiden, said he got his podcast. A very big listener and supporter of the show. We appreciate Aiden, man. One of our young brothers up here that's doing it big and started his own podcast. I'm really, really proud of him. But speaking of proud of, Jim Harbaugh accepts the head coaching jobs with the Chargers. Does that mean? I think that's going to be a big deal. The Chargers fired Braden Staley, who really underachieved as a coach with a team that I thought was a lot better. And they fired him, December 15th. He didn't even complete the season after they lost 63-21 to the Las Vegas Raiders at week 15. He was out there week 16. So, yeah, Sandersville. I thought Sandersville. Aiden says he's in Sandersville. So y'all make sure y'all check out my boy Aiden's Johnson's podcast out of Sandersville. You know what I'm saying? Y'all make sure y'all show him love like y'all show us love here at the big King Bo Show, sports show right here, okay? So the Chargers fired Staley, like I said, December 15th. They looked initially inside and they tried interim head coach Giff Smith, who at the end of the day did okay, but they kind of knew that wasn't a guy. And from what I understand, they had their eyes on Jim Harbaugh the whole time as being a replacement, especially once he won. Once he did win the national championship, and they had their eyes and went on ahead and got Jim Harbaugh and accepts the head coaching job there, especially after he won the national championship. So, breaking news: Jim Harbaugh is now the head coach with the Chargers. Big deal on that. So that's a big deal for the Chargers. Maybe he can bring the Chargers back to some type of prominence. They did go to the Super Bowl a couple of years with what's the quarterback? Phillip Rivers. They're one of the most overrated quarterbacks I felt like in the NFL. But they did go a couple times with Phillip Rivers. And so this is a big deal. So I think this is a big deal. I think it's a good lead for the Chargers. They have a bright young quarterback who's a big deal, who I think Harbaugh will at least help defensively. He will at least help defensively, and I think that that's going to be something that they really, really need. They really, really need someone to help them defensively, especially with the young quarterback that they have, who's a stud, in Herbert. Herbert is a stud. He's a stud. He can ball. But I think the defense has let them down consistently. I think he hasn't had the greatest coaching staff. Staley was... a lot of people felt like he never should have had the job. I know a lot of people was calling. I know Stephen A. and some other ones was calling for his job early in the season, that he was a poor choice of a head coach for the Chargers. Now you got Jim Harbaugh, you got Justin Herbert. Man, you got an opportunity to do some things and to make some noise, legitimately make some noise in this conference right now that with San Diego. and it's going to be fun to see what Jim Harbaugh can do. I would give him a couple of years. You know, you know what though? I feel like they have a strong enough team this year that they possibly should have did better. And if I look at their stars, let me see. It was star players. I think both is Bosa on there? I think Bosa's on there. They got Eckler, Herbert, Keenan Allen, Joyner. You know, they got some players. They have some players on there that can get some things done. But I think like I said, I think they're gonna have to definitely work on this team and make sure that they get some things situated. Mike Williams is on there. They have some solid players. I'm a huge Keenan Allen fan. Austin Eckler, not as much. I mean, he runs hard, but you know, I really like what they've done. Josh Harris is on there, so they have an opportunity to make noise coming into the 2024 season. We'll see what happens as far as what Jim Harbaugh is going to do, bringing his skill, bringing his team, bringing his experience and success. You gotta give him props. He's had success at every stop. He's had success at every stop, so you have to give him his props. And this is a big deal for the Chargers to get some. I think they had to do it. You're in Los Angeles. You had to get the big name to come over there in Los Angeles. So they got one of the biggest name in coaching, Jim Harbaugh. And, you know, so I think that's a good fit for him. I think he'll be able to run all the player personnel, do the things that he want to do. I think they'll probably give him the reins to the team, be able to get the players that he want, be able to run the team the way he would like. And I think he's going to do okay. He's going to do a fantastic job. So I'm really looking forward to what's going on with Jim Harbaugh going to the Los Angeles Chargers. That's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. AFC keeps getting tougher and tougher. It's not a slouch. NFC, not as much, but AFC is getting tougher and tougher, right? Tougher and tougher. Hey, can we go ahead and get to my rant? I want to get to my rant. Can we get to my rant real quick? You know what I'm saying? Can we get to the rant? Because I got something to rant about. You know, I definitely got something to rant about. And you guys are gonna laugh at my rant, but it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. And my rant is this. I don't know if y'all been paying attention. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to what's been going on in Big Dallas. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention. I have. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention. But if you haven't been paying attention to what's been going on in Big Dallas, you should definitely pay attention. You should definitely pay attention. Because what's going on in Big Dallas is this. It's a lot of finger pointing. He say, she say. Now, we know that we got the big news. And the topic of the night show is called Changes. And the changes that has been occurring. And the changes that's been happening. Right? And the changes that's been going on. And you see, even with the code, even with the and you see, even with the signing of Jim Harbaugh and the breaking news today, the changes that's occurring within the league already, even though the season is still not over with yet. And we're going to get to the NFL playoffs in 1 second. Both should be joining me a little bit late tonight. But we'll get to the NFL playoffs in 1 second. But even with the changes that's been happening in the NFL, it's been a lot of changes. And in some ways, some things have stayed the same. So I don't know if you guys knew or if you guys saw what we've seen. And what we find out is this, that Mike McCarthy will be staying on, and we broke the news last week at the end of the show about Mike McCarthy staying on as the Dallas Cowboy head coach. And people was like, okay, cool. You're staying on Dallas Cowboy head coach. All right, cool. Understand. What does this mean for everyone else? And I knew that this was going to have a big, what's the word I'm looking for? I knew that this is going to have a big effect on the team, but I didn't foresee what was going to happen. I didn't foresee all the beef that was going to start happening, right? And with all the beef that's happening with my Cowboys, I figured out that it's actually going to affect. It's going to affect a team the most. And the team that it's going to affect the most out of everyone that is starting to affect, it seems to have the biggest domino effect, is none other than the fact that it will have on the Atlanta Falcons. So I think at the end of the day, when we're seeing what the effect would be, the biggest effect that we'll see happening is the effect that the Cowboys drama is having and will have on the Atlanta Falcons. You guys can call in 478-569-6110. 478-569-6110. And in my rant, I legitimately want to talk about how the Cowboys and their decisions are affecting the Atlanta Falcons. What do you mean, King? Because a lot of people don't know that from my sources and from what I've been hearing, that the Cowboys were a lead candidate in landing Bill Belichick. Now, we found out that a lot of teams now don't want Bill Belichick. And that is a reason. There's a reason why a lot of teams don't want Bill Belichick. I'll wait for Bo to come in and maybe let him discuss why they don't want Bill Belichick like that. But the Cowboys had a chance to actually talk to Bill Belichick. He actually had some nice things to say about Jerry Jones. Very nice things to say about Jerry Jones. So with the Cowboys staying with Mike McCarthy, it left the door open for the Atlanta Falcons to possibly hire Bill Belichick. Which I heard is back and forth. So I heard there's people in the organization saying they don't want him. They really get Raheem Morrison. I'm hearing there's some people saying they want him. They think he's what they need. And one thing, even though I'm not a Falcons fan, y'all know I don't like them Falcons. Y'all know I don't like them dirty birds. Y'all know I'm not a Falcons fan. 0%. 0%. 0%. Y'all know I don't like the Falcons. I think we actually played the Falcons next year, too, if I'm not mistaken. I think we played the Falcons. And y'all know I don't like the Falcons. But I will give them that they have a solid young nucleus. And with a couple of players here and there, they might can make a little bit of noise. I mean, I hate them, but I give props where props is due. I'm fair, though. You know what I'm saying? I won't root for them. And as much as Falcons fans talk about Cowboys not winning since 97, 98, 98, 97, 95, not winning since 95, and almost 40 years that the Cowboys haven't won a championship, the Falcons fans have never won. 0%. They haven't won at all. They never won. They've never tasted what it's like to hold a Lombardi trophy. At least I can say in my lifetime, I see my Cowboys hoist a Lombardi trophy. But I have not seen the Atlanta Falcons ever get an opportunity to hoist the Lombardi trophy. Even the closest that they came were 28-3. It makes me laugh every time. Every time I say 28-3, it makes me laugh. The closest the Atlanta Falcons came was 28-3. 28-3. 28-3 was the closest the Falcons came. Halftime to winning the Super Bowl. I remember that very vividly. The Atlanta Falcons, I was at church, and we was with the brothers at Living Hope Word Church, and we was watching the Atlanta Falcons at the halftime. All the Falcons fans were excited. They were jumping and they was jumping like they was in church. We was at the fellowship hall on the big screen TV watching the game, and all the Falcons fans was talking noise. Oh, yeah. On Facebook, oh, they was talking noise. Yeah, we got one. And then I kept looking, and I said, hey. Y'all know who y'all playing. Don't get too excited. Don't get too excited, Falcons. You are playing Tom freaking Brady. You're playing the GOAT. One of the few players that you put up there with Tiger and Michael is Tom Brady. And you guys have Matty Ice. And you Falcons have. You're going against Bill Belichick. Multiple Super Bowl winning head coach. And you guys have Dan Destroyer Team Quinn. And I saw that. I said, wait, just wait a minute. Give him a chance. Just wait a minute. And when they go on to lose, it was one of the most joyous occasions I've had in sports history. And this team here has never, ever tasted Super Bowl victory. They never had a chance to hoist that Lombardi trophy. But y'all know who does? Y'all know who did? The Cowboys. And what's funny about this is, and what's really cool and what I'm saying is, through all that, all the heartbreaks of being a Falcons and Georgia Bulldog fans and Atlanta Hawks fans for all these years until I wised up and said, you know what? I think I like the Bulls. I like Michael Jordan. You know what? I like Kobe. Kobe's my favorite player. I think I'm going with my Lakers. You know what? I like my Cowboys. Always had an affection for the Cowboys. Way back when Danny White was the quarterback. I love my Cowboys. I said, you know what? I'm leaving these dirty birds here in the dirt. And I'm going to a real team. A real franchise. And that's what we did. Now, all these years later, I'm seeing my team struggle and have Falcons tendencies. And we keep it a buck. And they even went as much as the high Dan Killer Team Quinn. I'll give you a high Dan Harley Quinn. No wonder we got blew out in the playoff games. We had that Falcons energy infiltrate the Cowboy Nation. Now, even after the season, we're trying to maneuver and move on. The Falcons keep. And then, let me say this too. And all during the season, for some reason, we're not in the same division as Atlanta. We're not in the same division. Falcons, we're not in the same division as you guys. We didn't play y'all this year. I think we play y'all this year, though. We didn't play y'all this year. But for some reason, every time a Cowboys fan and a Falcons fans, we've always been interlocked. We've always been kind of interlocked. From Dion, who left and went to San Francisco first, but ended up in Dallas, always been interlocked. I don't know why. Cowboys and Falcons. I don't know why Cowboys and Falcons have such disdain for each other. But we do. And I understand why some Falcons fans, me and some Falcons fans like TT, the TTs, Terrence Thomas and TT Webb, or EL, or these Falcons fans, and my cousin Gerald, JJ, all these Falcons fans, Donnie. I can understand why we have our little back and forths. Because I consistently let them have it, and as they do with my Cowboys. But other than that, I don't really see why we're both Falcon fans and Cowboys are really intertwined like that. But we are. We are. But what's been really, really happening, if you been looking at the news recently, they've really, really been intertwined together. Both teams fired their coaches around the same time. I mean, both teams had coach discussions around the same time. Both teams, while the Cowboys made the playoffs, they were eliminated in the wild card round. Atlanta did make it, as usual. Cowboys losing the wild card round, as usual, per recent history. So they've kind of been intertwined, and it's been funny about the intertwining of this until I heard this morning about some of the things that's going on in Big D. And if you haven't heard about the beefs that's been going on with family members of the Cowboys after they're lost, from Michael Parsons' brother speaking out and saying that Michael Parsons should leave Dallas, to Dak's brother coming back and saying, hey, Dak should leave Dallas, to hearing the reports from likes of Stephen A. and others talking about how the football team had lost faith in everybody but Dak. They had faith in everyone but Dak. They didn't know if Dak could do it. And a lot of players are looking at Dak like he's the reason we hadn't taken that next step. All those things and all those links. And then you bring back McCarthy, and people were upset, and the Cowboy Nation were upset and a little bit disappointed that we brought back Mike McCarthy. We're like, why? But we brought him back. I understood. 12-5. NFC division crown. Understood. But now Dallas has a bigger problem. And the bigger problem than Mike McCarthy is this. It's called the cap, the salary cap. And the salary cap that's hitting the Cowboys is one that it's just, some of the things they did. But a lot of it's Dallas's fault. Right? A lot of it's Dallas's fault. And some of the bigger players with Dallas now is starting to kind of regulate. You don't have Dak on a rookie contract anymore. Now he showed himself to be second team All-Pro this year. What? Third runner-up, maybe second runner-up in MVP voting. All that's happening this year. And he's going to count next year $59 million against Dallas' salary cap. Now, mind you, Dallas had to pick up an option on Michael Parsons this year. Eventually, they're going to have to pay CeeDee Lamb, who I think is on the last year. I think this year's the last year of his contract. You have free agent and Gilmore that's a free agent after this year. You have Terrence Steele that has one of the worst contracts in the NFL that I've seen. Like, Terrence Steele's contract is worse than, really to me, is worse than Dak. Terrence, it's a contract that Dallas has to get rid of. Definitely. One of those contracts will be getting rid of Dak's, restructuring Dak's contract. You got to figure out what you're going to do with Michael Parsons. You're going to pick up his option this year. Stephon Gilmore, who played pretty well. Was Stephon an All-Pro? I don't know. Let me see. Let's see if Stephon made the All-Pro team. Stephon Gilmore, All-Pro. Did he make Pro Bowl this year? He played well enough. Stephon Gilmore. I don't think he made it until you were in the coast. So Stephon, who's a perennial All-Pro, but he comes this year. I don't think he made it this year. Maybe he did. He had a great year. So do you bring him back? You have all these questions that you have. And one of the big questions that people are having now is, should we bring back Dak at $59 million, $60 million against the cap? Should we bring back Dak at $60 million against the cap? And a lot of players are saying, no, don't bring him back. And I'm saying, you definitely can bring him back. Now, what we do understand is this, is that Dak has every advantage in the negotiation situation. 110%. He has all the advantages. If you even think about it, Dak has all the advantages. He has the cap number, $60 million cap number this year, last year in his contract. He's an All-Pro again this year, MVP candidate, second team All-Pro. He has all the cards and is definitely top 5 quarterback in the NFL this year. He has all the makings all the balls that this get no trade clause. He gets to decide. He gets to decide what team that he goes to. All these things are in Dak's favor. And guess who they're linking Dak to going to? The Atlanta Falcons. What? Now, I've been kind of thinking that we need to get rid of Dak, but I don't know how I feel about Dak. Him going to the Atlanta Falcons. Anybody but the Atlanta Falcons. Because let's be honest, the Falcons have a solid core of players. Falcons have an offense. The Falcons have a solid core of offensive players that can ball. A solid core. A solid core. They have a solid core of players who can ball. They got home run players. They got a Robinson, the rookie who showed huge big play ability. Got Kyle Pitts, another former first round draft pick. You got Drake London. Falcons have a nice squad. Nice squad. Nice guy. Scotty Miller, Van Jefferson. A nice guy. Tyler Algier. And to be honest with you, if you give the Falcons a solid quarterback, like a Des Pratt, like him or hate him or love him, Dak has been a solid quarterback. Definitely top 10, possibly top 5 quarterbacks since he's been in the league. Probably put Patty Mack, maybe Lamar Jackson. That's about, you got to kind of throw Dak up there with them. You do. With the numbers. Especially during the regular season. Especially during the regular season. So Dak holds all the cards. And what we heard was from ESPN analysts that Dak should go and try to get on and go to the Atlanta Falcons. And I don't know how I feel about Dak going to the Atlanta Falcons. Anywhere else, I'm cool with it. 2 things I can't let Dak go to. I don't want him to go to the Philadelphia Eagles, which he's not going because I got Jalen. And I don't want to go to Atlanta Falcons. But when you kind of think about it, kind of makes sense. And if he has any place that you would want to choose, and if Dak is looking at situations that could best, if Dak could look at situations that would best suit him, I think if I'm a quarterback, I'm looking at Atlanta as a prime destination for me. And I think at the end of the day, going to that's hilarious. It's fits that. When I think about how that could happen, I'm really, 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 really not happy about it. But I am going to say that would be interesting. That would be interesting. I think if I take my hate out of Atlanta, I think that going to Atlanta would make Atlanta a playoff team, possibly a Super Bowl contender. Now, will Atlanta want him? Y'all know the Falcons fans are they real finicky. And first of all, you got to understand. They're Falcon fans. So they're not the smartest people in the world to begin with. You know what I'm saying? They don't necessarily think with their head a lot of times, but they think more with their heart. They're good people. Good people. Good people. Good people. Real good people. But they think with their heart more than they think with their head. They're not the smartest fans in the world. You know, you're a Falcons fan. Good people. Really, the good people. Just not the smartest people in the world. Because anytime you tell me I'm a Falcons fan, very, very good people. I just question your intelligence. How can you root for the Falcons that's never won in their life? And I just said, listen to me now. I love Falcon fans. Good people. Really good people. Great people. No people. When it comes to like finding and rooting for a good football team, I don't know if I could trust a Falcons fan. Oh, did I tell you that they're good people? Falcon fans are amazing people. Great people. That's not the smartest people in the world. Anytime you say you're a Falcons fan, I instantly say, hey, you've made some bad life decisions. Anytime I hear you say, I root for the Atlanta Falcons. Good people. Did I tell you they was good people? Great people. Great people. But when it comes to choosing teams and sports teams and their organizations taking care of the fans, it just ain't good to be a Falcons fan. They're really good people. I said it, they're great people. Great people. But I don't want Dak going to the Atlanta Falcons. But if I was Dak, I kind of be open to it. It's in the NFC South. It ain't strong. You got a nice core. You got a nice core of young players that's hungry, that you can work and you can mold, and you can get to where you need to be. Hey, man, a decent offensive line. Not the greatest. They can work on their offensive line a little bit, but a decent offensive line, some home run hitters, some possession players. Falcons have something. They have something to work on. And bringing Dak into the organization would give them definitely a benefit. You know what I'm saying? So we're really waiting to see what's going to happen, because the Falcons could legitimately get Bill Belichick and Dak Prescott in the same year. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is no laughing matter. And something for the Atlanta Falcons fans to be excited about. We'll be back with more King Bo Show coming up a little bit. Man, we're going to talk about, what's going on. We're going to go to line. We're going to talk about the NFL playoffs. We're going to also go ahead and talk about what's happening with golf. Golf. Yes, golf. We're going to talk about what happened in golf. I got to get my man, what's his name on? Wilson. Hey, Wilson on. Rashad on. Talk about some golf with Rashad. But we got golf coming up. Listen, man, y'all stay locked in. Y'all know what it is. It's the King Bo Show right here on YouTube, Facebook, X. Let's go. Falcons fans are good people. Good people. I hate that there.
In the relentless rain, a saga unfolded. The Atlanta Falcons, facing the 1-12 Carolina Panthers, spiraled into a new abyss. Final score, a meager 9-7. The crowd's roars drowned in the downpour, echoing the team's recurring nightmares. In the virtual stands of Twitter, the fans unleashed their storm. Coach Arthur Smith and quarterback Desmond Ridder, once the beacon of hope, now stood in the eye of the tempest. their ship adrift in a sea of discontent. And so, the Falcons' tale continues, a narrative of hope, despair, and the unyielding spirit of football. Stay tuned, dear listeners, for the next chapter.
Hello, this is Reba Green here, owner of the Great Green Store, and I would like for you to tune in to the Unnamed Sports Show with King and Bo every Wednesday.
B.I.G. Show me the list. Show me the list. Everybody talking about they the best. Everybody talking, but they talking about us. B.I.G. walking the God we trust. As long as our names is in the book, we good. Show me the list. Show me the list. Show me the list. Hey. Everybody talking about they the best. We the best, yes. Everybody talking, but they talking about us. B.I.G. walking the God we trust. As long as our names is in the book, we good.
I'm your host, King Joe. Bo should be coming. I think he's gonna try to sneak in a little bit. Man, welcome back to the King Bo Show, man. We're gonna go get this thing. Now let's go down to the talking points of the day, our topics of the day. We had the breaking news with that kind of took us off. What's going on? Make sure, hey, I hope you guys are liking the changes that we're doing to the show, the edits and everything that we're doing, and the graphics and everything that we're doing to try to make the show look the way it's supposed to look. You guys can call in and be a part of the show. I'm here by myself today, so you guys can call in 478-569-6110. Phone lines are open. 478-569-6110. 478-569-6110. And let's go ahead and get to it. We're going to go ahead and get started. The NFC Divisional Playoffs was this weekend, and oh my God, was it great. We had two great games that I thought that were really did a great job of making sure that everything was everything and everything was good the way it's supposed to be. And two great games this weekend in the playoffs. We had the Chiefs that survived. Can we say survive? They survived the Bills. And the Ravens moved past the Texans. And the AFC, a lot of people consider the AFC to be the favorites to win the Super Bowl. And I got to say, with the last four teams left in the division, I kind of look towards the AFC as kind of being the stronger team right now. A lot of people say San Francisco, but after San Francisco play, we'll talk about it a little bit later. I don't know if San Francisco stacks up against Kansas City or against the Ravens. I don't know. Detroit, surprise of the year. Quarterback that's taken the team to the Super Bowl before. We'll see what happens. But even Detroit is like, it's Detroit. It's almost like being a Falcons fan. You know, it's almost like being a Falcons fan. They're good people. Falcons fans are good people. Very good people. It's almost like being a Falcons fan. But when we talk about what happened this weekend, and we talk about what happened with the Chiefs, and they survived the Bills. Once again, wide right again. Well, that had to be heartbreaking. A great game. Both teams played well. We feel the Bills and you know everybody made Coach Chan made her picks last week. Bo made his pick last week. And, you know, both of them were wrong. I told them they was going to be wrong, but it's all right. You know, I be trying to tell them what's going to happen, and they don't want to listen. Hell, want to listen. They, I be telling them, hey, this is gonna happen, and they well, listen. They kind of like who? Falcons fans. Those are good people. Falcons fans are really good people. I like Falcons fans. All right, but Kansas City and Buffalo played this weekend, 27-24. Kansas City comes up with the win. Taylor Swift in attendance. Jason Kelsey's out with the shirt off. So Travis Kelsey has a great game, and the boys bring a playoff win over the Bills. Yeah, it was pretty. The ratings were phenomenal. I mean, astronomical. The ratings were fantastic. 50.3 million people. That's almost as many as watch Cat Williams and Shannon Sharp. 50.3 million people watch the Chiefs and the Bills. Josh Allen versus Patrick Mahomes. And I told you guys, and I made it clear. I told you last week. I said, hey, Josh Allen, everybody's talking about Josh Allen is the bad. They playing in Buffalo, all that. Patty Matt hasn't played on the road and all this stuff. And I was looking at y'all like, wait a minute, man. We're talking about Patrick Mahomes. None of the Super Bowls have been in Kansas City. 0%. None of the Super Bowls have been in Kansas City. None of them. Right? So all this he can't win the big game on the road, and he'll play. I was like, wait, what are you guys talking about? He's only played Super Bowls in neutral territories, in neutral stadiums. You don't get yourself in the number one position of the number one team in the AFC, but not winning on the road, not being big quarterbacks on the road, and a great game that came down to a couple of things. One, decision making, which I told you guys, if I had to put Josh Allen, who balled, I don't get it twisted. Josh Allen balled out. If I had to put it between Josh Allen making the game-winning play and Patty Mack making the game-winning play, I'll go with Patty Mack because he's shown that he has propensity to make the right decision. And Josh Allen at times has shown that he's had an issue with making the wrong play at times. And that's the problem. Josh Allen went 26 of 39, 186 yards, 1 TD. Patty Mack went 17 for 23, on the 16 completions, 215, 2 TDs. But Josh Allen also added 72 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground to make up 3 TDs. But then you have Isaiah Pacheco, who had 15 carries for 97 yards and a tuck for Kansas City. And this is a close game. Back and forth, both teams did, especially the first half. I thought it was going to be a 40-40 something game. But I called the score that it would be. Can we go back and look at the tape? The King called that it would be 27-24. Kansas City over. I called the score. I told y'all can start. Y'all need to start, I'm not saying bet on what I say, but, I'm normally about 8 out of 10 right now. 8 out of 10. If I say it's going to happen, it's probably going to happen. 8 out of 10. Especially when I'm not thinking about my heart, thinking with my heart. Especially if it's the Cowboys or Lakers, I'm a little biased. No, let's be honest. I'm a lot biased. Cowboys and Lakers, I'm a lot biased. But other teams, I'm looking at them and saying, okay, I'm looking at the stats, looking at the players, and I'm making a very educated guess. And I got Patty Mack over Josh Allen. And I told you guys, I said, hey, when it comes down to it, it's going to be Patty Mack versus Josh Allen. And once again, Patty Mack got it right. Patty Mack got the ball. Got the dog the ball. And Josh Allen dropped it later. And it really wasn't Josh's fault. Josh played well. Put him in the position to at least tie the game. And as we saw, the kicker kicked wide right and missed. And then the Buffalo Bills, I think it dejected. Once that kicker missed the ball, I think it was over. It was definitely over. The game was over. I think Buffalo was dejected. I think it was no stopping them. Like you wasn't stopping Kansas City once he missed that field goal. The whole team, you can see the whole team's body language just, what is he doing? And you have to understand that was such a huge game 50 million people. Taylor Swift in the stands. Travis Kelce without a shirt on. Jason Kelce, I'm sorry. Sitting out there bare chested. That's how big the game was. In bad weather. And you have people talking about, oh, the weather in the weather in Buffalo, that's gonna I'm like, wait a minute, they just played in Kansas City, and y'all didn't see Patty Mack out there throwing in zero negative degree weather, throwing them dimes in negative degree weather the week before. One of the coldest games in the history of the NFL. And y'all thought Buffalo was gonna stop him? Man, stop. But I will say this. You kind of can see, I was telling Bo the other last weekend, hoping the Bo will be joining us. I was telling Bo last weekend, I said, man, the issue with Tua is Tua going on the road and not having the arm, not having a strong enough arm. And you kind of saw this week the difference between Josh Allen this week throwing it and Tua throwing it. You're able to see the difference between the two. You're able to see how Josh Allen and Mahomes made that ball zip through the air. Where Tua had them ducks flying. Tua had them ducks was flying over there with Tua. And all I'm saying is, listen, it happens. So having two great quarterbacks, I had an idea that I was going to go at Patrick. Because if you put the two, it's going to come down to who's the better quarterback. And every year, it's down to, hey, it's going to be down to Patrick Mahomes versus I told you I couldn't remember his name. Josh Allen. Patrick Mahomes versus Josh Allen, and they came down to it in Patrick Mahomes. Like I said they would, with the exact score, 27-24, that I said it would be. Just be know what I'm talking about. I'm not telling you to bet on it. But you kind of can, you kind of can book it. Kind of can book it. And then you had the next game of the evening. So you had the next game. So congratulations once again to Patty Mack and the Kansas City Chiefs. Then you have the next game out there that played in the division. You had Ravens move past the Texans. And what you saw in this game was a difference between a team taking off, where what I saw was a team that took off and had a few weeks off, a couple of weeks to get prepared, and came in just a little bit, out of sorts. They didn't remember who they were and went to it. They remember who they were and then they went to work. And they started destroying people. And the Texans is one of the Cinderella teams of the year. But every now and then that clock strikes 12. And when that clock struck 12 this year, guess what happened? Lamar Jackson turned them back into the lonely orphans. C.J. Stroud, 19 for 33, 175 yards. Lamar Jackson, 16 for 22, 152 yards. But Lamar Jackson also had 100 yards, 2 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns total. While C.J. Stroud didn't have any. And I think the issue was this, and the difference between the game was when Baltimore's defense came in the second half, the Texans had no answer. They had no answers. And we always thought the Texans was probably a year or two away. And what has been shown, what I've been saying all year, is that Baltimore has done a great job in the front office of building a Super Bowl contender. Building the Super Bowl contender. And they've had the breaks to build a Super Bowl contender. Now, I do think that there's an issue with this. And when I watched the game, there's one thing I saw. I saw the tales of two halves. The first half, Baltimore did okay. The first quarter, Baltimore struggled a little bit. Second quarter, Baltimore comes out and scores a touchdown. And then the third quarter, the fourth quarter, you saw the better team take off. It was almost like a sprint. Like you had the sprinter, Sha'Carri Richardson. Yeah, I think I don't like Sha'Carri. I ain't a huge fan, but I ain't against her. One thing Sha'Carri has is her takeoffs are horrible. Sha'Carri Richardson's takeoffs is really legitimately horrible. If Sha'Carri Richardson had better takeoffs, Sha'Carri Richardson probably have a medal by her. Right? But one thing Sha'Carri Richardson has that you can't take away, and it's another thing that another great sprinter, Usain Bolt, has, and that's that third and fourth gear. And that's what Lamar showed that the Baltimore Ravens had this year. They have that third or fourth gear. And they have put players around him that can make plays. They put players around him that can help him be more dynamic. And when Baltimore, who cruised, I felt like they cruised the first 3 quarters. They kind of cruised a little bit. But when Baltimore put their foot on the gas, what's up, Terry? When Baltimore put their foot on the gas, man, it was something to behold. Something to behold. 478-569-6110. 6110. Baltimore's done a great job building a Super Bowl contender. But that brings me to my next point. And you guys are not gonna like what I got. Because y'all know at the beginning of the year, and I've had some cats already hit me up about Lamar Jackson making it to the AFC Championship. And if y'all remember before the year, I was very critical during the negotiations about Lamar Jackson being marketable as a team leader, as a CEO of a corporation. Do you want Lamar Jackson being that guy as a CEO of a corporation? Talent, we know he has it. Boatload of talent. Great guy. Great guy. Infectious personality. But does he have it to take a team to the next level? And that's something that we really, really have been waiting on Lamar. MVP, possibly 2 times this year. Probable 2-time MVP. Now we get to really, really see what what's gonna do. Cause this now, how did the coach get fired? And he was not one of them playing in the game. Okay, Aiden, he wasn't talking about the coach. We'll talk about it in a second. In this right now, what we're seeing, check this out. Check this out. And this right now, what we're seeing is no excuses. And I told y'all when he signed the contract, when he signed the what's a $200 million contract, became the $200 million man, $250 million man. I told y'all then, I said, hey, now Lamar, we're gonna see what you're gonna do. Ain't no excuses. You got the money. They went and got you Flowers. They went and got you Justice Hill. They got you Flowers. You got Bateman. You got Likely. You got Odell. They went and got Aguilar. They went and got you still have your other tight end that's hurt right now. You got a team. You always got a run squad. Your rushing squad is always there. Justice Hill is coming on to be a good solid running back, 5.1 yards and carry. Gus Ellis is still there. Then you go out and get Delvin Cook. So you got a running team, you got a decent receiver core, not a great, but a decent receiving core. Likely it's turning out to be a baller, a great tight end core, good offensive line, solid offensive line. You don't have any excuses. A solid defense, no excuses, Lamar. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? Are you gonna barbecue, Lamar? Or are you gonna Mahomes do? Are you gonna barbecue or is it gonna be Mahomes do? Because Mahomes gonna do what Mahomes gonna do. But one thing I saw in the Buffalo game is this. Lamar, if you ball, you'll have a chance to win. Lamar, if you ball out, you're gonna have a chance to win. You're gonna have a chance to win. And something Coach Shea said, CC said last week, and I agree. Shout out to CC. She wasn't able to come. She had a last minute thing come up, event come up that she had to go to. Something Shea said last year that I agree with 110%, guys. And y'all let me know if y'all agree with the in the session. And she said this is the year that Kansas City can be had. And I agree with her. I just didn't think that Josh Allen could do it. After what he showed so much during the year, I didn't think that Josh Allen could do it. That's me personally. But this is the year that they definitely can. Kansas City is beatable. So Lamar, what you gonna do? No excuses, Lamar. None. Nobody's hating on you. Nobody's stopping you from being great. The coaching staff is behind you 110%. The organization is behind you 250 mil. One of the top quarterbacks in the league. No excuses. We're going to see what's going to happen. Who do you guys have? 478-569-6110. How do you guys feel? Do you feel that Baltimore is at a point right now and that Lamar is at a point right now where he is ready to dethrone Patty Mac? 478-569-6110. Let me know what you think. Is he at the point now where he is ready to dethrone Patty Mac? That's the question. And I'm gonna wait. I think both supposed to say he was coming. I don't know if he's coming. If he doesn't, then I give him my charge at the end of the show. But I'm going to wait till whom I give y'all my opinion. But one thing we can all agree is this: he does not have 0%. Does Lamar have an excuse? He has everything right now. He's healthy. Pretty much his team is healthy. He's using Mark Andrews. I think they say Mark Andrews could be back this week or either before the Super Bowl. For the most part, as healthy as you're gonna be during this part of the season, to the playoffs. Team is healthy. Team is rolling. Defense is nasty. The boys on Baltimore defense is nasty. Lamar has everything. Harbaugh is a coach, fantastic organization. You got it all, Lamar. Now, when you went on draft day, you said you was going to bring them a chip. Here's your best opportunity. Not your only. Not your only. You got a long career ahead of you. But this year, winning this game right here, winning this game against Patrick Mahomes and Kansas City can propel you to heights unseen. Propel you to heights unseen. But Lamar, understand, losing this game also will drop you back down to say, all those questions that we had over the years, can he get it done? Is he just another flashy running quarterback? Can he get it done? All those questions start to creep back up. All those questions start to creep back up. Lamar, this is a bigger game. Listen now, this is a bigger game for Lamar. To me, because Patty Mac has already shown that he's done it. This is legacy. Right now, Patty Mac is on a legacy quest, right? He's chasing Tom Brady. I agree, Terry. Terry, if you want to call in 478-569-6110. He's chasing Tom Brady right now. He's chasing Tom Brady. So Patty Mac is on a legacy quest. This is just bigging up on this legacy. This right here is a pedestal quest for Lamar. This is the next step up the level for Lamar Jackson. This puts him in the elite. Lamar Jackson beat Patty Mac, win the Super Bowl. Now you're talking about Lamar Jackson, Hall of Famer. What, King, at the one? Yes, at the one. 2 times MVP, Super Bowl champion, probably Super Bowl MVP if he wins the Super Bowl. That's a Hall of Famer numbers. Hall of Fame numbers. Is that enough? So, Lamar, this is for legacy, Lamar. All the words that I said at the beginning of the season, you can have me eat those words. You win these games. You win this game here. No moving of the goalpost, because I said it. When they gave me the 250, I said, hey, you're $250 man now, Lamar. No excuses. So Lamar, no excuses. No excuses. And to be honest with you, Lamar, I'm rooting for you. I'm rooting for you. I want to see you. I like competition. Y'all see all this that we got on the show, all the graphics and everything? That's because we want to be number one. King Bo wants to be the number one, your source for number one in sports and entertainment. We want to be the number one podcast. But I like competition. And Lamar wins. Now you have another king of the hill to go with Patty Mac. Lamar, you lose, you drop that down to being with. It's not a bad, it won't be a bad thing to be down with Josh Allen, Dak Prescott, or, you know what I'm saying, those guys who hadn't gotten it done yet. Those guys, like, we really have to be honest, right? If Lamar didn't, we're gonna move on to the last statement. If Lamar does not win, check this out. If Lamar does not win, Lamar drops down. Then you start looking at Patty Mac, and if Patty Mac wins another Super Bowl, you start looking at Patty Mac as Jordan. And remember, you had Ewing, Barkley, you had Malone, Stockton, Glenn Rice, all these great players. All these great players that couldn't get it done, Allen Iverson. All these great players that couldn't get it done. Allen Iverson is more than the Lakers, but all these great players that couldn't get it done because of Jordan. Didn't get a ring because of Jordan. And the truth be told, if Mahomes beats Jackson and goes on to win in the Super Bowl, you're putting Mahomes up there with Brady. You put Mahomes, you're starting to think of Mahomes as 3-time Super Bowl champion. You're starting to think of Mahomes as somebody that's going to stop a lot of players from getting the Super Bowl. And that's the thing that we have. That's the thing that we're going to be paying attention to. When we come back, man, I think we're going to have Bo joining us when we get back. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about some of the news that's happening in the NBA. We also get his thoughts on the NFL playoffs. We're going to talk about the NFL division, NFC, gets his thoughts on what happened in the AFC and his thoughts. Let him catch up. And the thoughts of the breaking news that's happening today is you see down in the ticker at the bottom of the screen, something that we bought new into the show. You got the Heat acquired Terry Rozier, Heat trade Kyle Lowry, and protect the first-round pick to Charlotte to get Terry Rozier. I think it's a big pay. And then also we'll talk about the transgender Haley Davidson, who won the NXT championship and now possibly is in the women's PGA tournament. Interesting. We'll come right back. We'll be back. Bo should be joining when we come back. Right after this, let's go.
Overtime to get the time right. Had to lose a little mind to get my mind right. Finally realized, but in hindsight, you wanted the limelight. Me priority never once. You kept close but never really wasn't. I accept your lack of focus. Agree with all your choices. Needed you to need me. Needed you to see me. Until I found the right direction, I think my reflection would agree. Had to find the me in me.
The Joy Sport by K. David Jordan.
DJ B.I.G.
Oh, yeah, let's go again.
Show me the list. Show me the list. Everybody talking about they the best. Everybody talking, but they talking about us. BLG walking the God we trust. As long as our name is listed in the book, we good. Show me the list. Show me the list. Show me the list. Hey. Everybody talking about they the best. We the best, yes. Everybody talking, but they talking about us. BLG walking the God we trust. As long as our name is listed in the book, we good. Show me the list. Show me the list. Everybody talking about they the best. Everybody talking, but they talking about us. BLG walking the God we trust. As long as our name is listed in the book, we good. Show me the list. Show me the list. Show me the list. Hey. Everybody talking about they the best. We the best, yes. Everybody talking, but they talking about us. BLG walking the God we trust. As long as our name is listed in the book, we good.
What's up, brother? Oh, he said he can't hear me. He trying to get himself together. All right, we got Bo. Bo's up here with the building coming back with me, and we'll be talking about some stuff with Bo. Got to catch up with Bo. Bo joins the show with what's going on. I don't know if he can hear me yet, so we're still trying to see if we can pick up and we can get him to hear me. So we're gonna try to see what we can do as far as like getting them there to hear me, and we want to welcome everybody back. Bo, let me know when you can hear me, okay? Give me the thumbs up when you can hear me, and then we'll bring it back up, okay? And all right, so listen, we got a lot going on. Hold on, I think we got him now. Let's see if we got him in the building. Hello, sir. How are you?
Oh, King, man, hello. I see you got the graphics going. Fantastic.
Hey, I told you I've been working it. You know what I'm saying? I told I was going to work and try to get everything looking the way they're supposed to be looking all sharp and everything. You like them?
Man, I love it, man. It's fantastic. I like the space bar down there at the bottom with the information carrying over, which is fantastic. Keep up the good work, man.
I appreciate it, brother. I appreciate it, man. It's great to hear from you. Great to see you tonight. Now, we talked about a lot. Now, we had a lot of breaking news coming in, Bo. We had a lot of breaking news coming in. We had a lot of different things happening with the show and happening. I know you heard about Jim Harbaugh. I want to get your thoughts on what you think about with Jim Harbaugh going out and now being the coach. Been posted that he's about to sign as the coach of the Michigan Wolverines.
King, give me one quick second. Rock, call into the show, baby. Call into the show.
Rock, he said Rock called in.
Yeah, 478
569
6110.
478-569-6110. We can get you live, Rock, if you come in.
No, sir. 478-569-6110.
All right, so he's trying to get Rock on. Now, if you guys didn't know already, that Jim Harbaugh has been coming in.
6110.
And with Jim Harbaugh doing what he's doing, Jim Harbaugh is now the coach of the. He's not the coach of the Los Angeles Chargers, who had a big deal last week. The Los Angeles Chargers, like you said, and the phone lines are open. Bo, thumbs up if you're ready. Of the Los Angeles Chargers, he is not a coach of the Los Angeles Chargers, and that's breaking news today. Bo, how you feel about it?
Well, honestly, I think it's a good move for the Chargers and Harbaugh. He's getting older. He's going out there to sunny California. Along with that, he's headed to a team that already has a quarterback cemented in, which is Herbert. So their offensive system is good. Harbaugh's an offensive-minded coach, quarterback in college and also in the NFL, high school level as well. So what matters to him is, can he continue to utilize the skill sets that are already in place, and can he actually capitalize and make them a little bit better, improve them in the areas where they need to be improved, that where the weaknesses stand. But they're going to really have to focus also and get a good defensive coordinator in there, because the defensive players are getting older. Bosa is getting older. What's the defensive end that came from Chicago?
I think he's calling you back. He's got the wrong number.
I'll give me a few seconds. Khalil Mack, he's getting a little older, coming off of the edge. Rock, we're live on the air, and we really want you to be live on the air with us. So, sir, please call in at 478-569-6110. We want to hear what you got to say. We know that you're excited, you're interested, you keep chiming in, but we really want to hear your voice live, because you bring a lot of entertaining thoughts to the table, and you bring a different perspective, so we want to listen to you. So, once again, Rock, that is 478-569-6110.
478-569-6110. Listen,
Can
you
you
know
do
what
me a
I'm saying?
favor, man? Pause me for a minute. Let me text him the information, man, so
All
we
right,
can
go
get
ahead.
him.
Go
So
ahead
we
and
can
text it.
get online.
I got you. I got you. So we're seeing here, Jim Harbaugh goes to the head coaching job with the Chargers. Now, he's not one of the only persons that has a brand new head coaching job. I don't know if you guys have been following the NBA and what's been going on in the NBA also with some of the news that's been happening in the NBA. And some of those news have really, really, really been really, at the end of the day, shocking.
Yes, sir.
It's really been a shocking situation with some of the news going on in the NBA right now. I don't know if y'all look down at the ticker, what we have here at the ticker, you guys can see that at the end of the day, they have Milwaukee has hired none other than Doc Rivers as their head coach, and firing Griffin, their coach, who was 31-10. 31-10. They fired Griffin as their head coach, and now they're hired. He just called and they hung up. Oh no, they fired Griffin as their head coach, and now they're sitting there now, and they're actually having a situation. Now they have gone and hired Doc Rivers in as a head coach in Milwaukee. And Bo, I think I have you back. You back there, Bo? Thumbs up if you back, man. All right. So, Bo, my question, Bo, is how do you feel about Milwaukee now that they have gone and they've hired Doc Rivers and fired Griffin as their head coach?
King, that's very interesting, to say the least, from an organizational chart. When you have a team that's been successful after you spent the type of money that they've spent to get in, Damian Lillard, you would think that 30-13 is a good record so far. About halfway through the season, they're on pace to win 60 ball games. But for some reason, they've decided to get rid of the head coach. That tells me that there's something going on internally that has nothing to do with the basketball court. So there's some upper management decisions that's really not wavering toward the head coach's way. And at the same time, the philosophy between him and the GM and the owner, they're not on the same page. So therefore, they rendered him away from his contract and decided to start anew, hiring Doc Rivers, who is very, very skilled. He has a Larry O'Brien trophy ring on his finger. But the thing about it is, though, King, I find it very hard for a team to part ways with a coach who is 30-13 with a bunch of superstars on his team, and it's a own decision court issue between him and the players and his coaching philosophy. There has to be something going on from a hierarchy standpoint between him and upper management that's just not sitting well. Other than that, he's performing to do his job at a very, very high level, and that's the only thing you can ask for. So there's something going on else behind that. Hasn't came out yet. Don't really know. But you just don't relieve a coach of duties who is 30-13. I tell you one thing, I'm a Laker fan. I wish we were 30-13. And
I definitely wish
he's
you would too.
and he's been released from his duties. So there's something going on that hasn't been released yet. I'm sure of that.
All right. I think we have a phone caller. Hold Hold on, I think we have a phone caller there. Hold on 1 second. Hello, caller, are you there? Can you hear me? Hello, sir.
I'm here.
All right, can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, cool. Go ahead. You wanted to say something. Go ahead, Rock. How you doing? Welcome to the King Bo Show. Go ahead.
I understand where you coming from, general managers and players and stuff. To me, my opinion, for what you basketball, I don't see so far easy and early. But I have seen the coach that got fired and Greek Freak that had an altercation he and Barrett, doing games. And I did my research. He got a problem with his brother not playing. Like he should be playing. So me, myself, personally, yeah, he could be general manager. Like you said, but at the end of the day, I mean, 30 and 13, and you going to fire me? It's not the general manager me, but I feel like it's the players.
Bo, did you hear?
I can barely hear Rock, but I kind of understand a little bit about what he's saying. Maybe the Greek Freak or other players may have spoken out, but we're not sure of that. When you have a coach that's performing at a high level like that, we know it's not his performance because he's proven that he can beat teams on a night in and night out basis. The team is performing well. He has, to me, I think they're a 3-tier team. You've got Lillard, the Greek Freak, and you cannot rule out Chris Middleton. Chris Middleton is a good basketball player. If you ask me, the year that they won it all, he really was the player who hit a lot of key shots that brought home the Larry O'Brien Trophy to the Milwaukee Bucks.
Right.
But in order for a coach to be dismissed at this point in time, and he hasn't proven anything, but you haven't given him an opportunity to prove anything either. But he's performing well. So that tells me that there's definitely something else going on between him and upper management for them to part ways. They were not on the same page on a lot of levels that did not include their record.
Well, I think you have to look at this at a couple of things that sources that I've been hearing. All right, so you have Doc River who comes in and takes over for Adrian Griffin, who was 30-11, first year head coach. And what I'm hearing, what I've heard is this: I heard that the Greek Freak and also Damian Lillard, especially Damian, has had an issue getting familiar with the offense, and they didn't like how the offense had been running in the situation. So you have Damian that's having the issues coming in, the big free agent, and he's struggling to a certain extent in the offense. And then you had the Greek Freak saying, "Okay, listen, I don't really trust this," and I think he pulls. Be honest with you, Bo. I think he pulls a he pulls a LeBron. If you remember when LeBron was in Cleveland and they had David Black in the middle of the year, rookie head coach, and they fired David Black and they got Tyronn Lue, right? So I think he takes a play out of LeBron's playbook and says, "Okay, listen, I'm the Greek Freak. I got a little pull. I'm really the organization pretty much right now. I don't really trust this guy. I'm having issues with it. Dame is having issues with it. We need to make a change to make sure that we solidify ourselves to be in the running at the end of the year." You gotta remember, they're number 2. They're not number 1 in the East. They're number 2 in the East right now. So I think a lot of that has to do with some of the decisions that the organization made to pull the string on Coach Griffin as quickly. I do like what Coach Griffin said, who was very, very he thanked everybody. He said it was a dream come true to Coach Dame, to Coach Greek Freak. He said all the right things, but I know he has to be disappointed after 30-13. Him and his staff have to be very disappointed after a 30-13 record. And it's going to be interesting to see if this pays off with the championship. Philly's playing super right now. Boston is playing well right now. So it's going to be interesting to see if this even pays off for them to get to the NBA Finals to play a Denver team or a LA Clipper team that's playing well, or even a Phoenix team that's playing well also. And always we got our team, the Lakers, is, we'll talk about that in a second. But go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead, Rock.
That last name, I disagree.
What last thing you disagree with? The Lakers?
The Lakers.
Why you disagree with the Lakers?
Now, Doc Rivers, he got his ring. If that one from Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen, and Paul Pierce. After that right there, when he went to the and he went to Philly, Doc Rivers wasn't done anything.
Right.
He wasn't doing anything. I mean, it's my opinion. Being true, like you and Bo said, you 30 and 13 and I get fired. That reminds me of Mark Jackson when he was at Golden State. You shot his knee off. A really thing. So, like Bo was saying, and like you were saying, it's very much a lot of going on in the locker room. That's like the Philadelphia Eagles.
Bo, what you feel?
Well, I mean, he could have some good points on that because when you take a look at it, you got players that are whining. It's similar to the situation that's going over here in D.C. with Bieniemy having a hard time getting the Washington Commanders job because players in the locker room are grieving against him to get that position. But King, I want to add another element to this as well, because when you think about it, for what it's worth, if you could check all of the boxes for indicators, you take a look at Doc Rivers. He has a ring. He's proven. Not only that, he's came from Philly. He's coached Embiid. He knows their style. He knows Philly. He could be somebody in a 7-game series who can coach against Philly very well because he coached there for a while. So I'm quite sure that Milwaukee took all of this in perspective when they decided to give him the opportunity. And me, personally, I'm a Doc Rivers fan. I go way back, I'm a diehard Lakers fan, but outside of the Lakers, I like the Hawks.
Yeah.
And Doc Rivers used to be the Hawks point guard for years. So I've been a Doc Rivers fan ever since he was a player. I mean, he wasn't one of those guys that's going to give you 20 points, but Doc Rivers is going to give you 10 and 10. He'll get you 10 rebounds. He'll get you 10 assists or either 10 assists and 10 points. But the thing about him is he's a team player. He's respected in the game. He respects players. He's been a winner everywhere he's been. Maybe not won a championship everywhere he's been, but he's been a winner. And his name carries a lot of positive weight in the NBA. He's a role model.
21st season as a head coach, NBA champion in 2008. Not a losing season since 2007 with 3 teams: Orlando Magic, Celtics, Los Angeles Clippers, and a 1,097 and 763 lose-win record in 21st season. So he's definitely he's probably a Hall of Fame coach when you think about it. He's only behind 4 other Hall of Famers who are better with Greg Popovich, Phil Jackson, and Pat Riley. So he is someone that brings credentials to the situations that, that Griffin doesn't. But I agree with you, Bo and Rock. I still would like to see Griffin with the opportunity to at least finish to see what he does. What you feel about that, Rock?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, because that was Garnett and Ray Allen before Doc Rivers.
No, they got there. I think they got there the same year, or the year after. I think the year after they got there.
Okay. So you already had a dominant 3.
Mm-hmm.
Kendrick Perkins and all that, but me myself personally, he had a dominant team.
Mm-hmm.
Over there, huh? Now tell me why he can't get over there.
It's gonna be interesting. I don't know. Like at the end of the day, I think all right. So I do know it's the Clippers. That's first of all. It's the Clippers. It's like being an Atlanta Falcons fan. you know.
Small Crawford, you had DeAndre Jordan.
But you got.
Which like both teams, I was a whole fan, but I only was one player fan with the whole. And that was freaky. That was freaky. I was a bad freaky fan. No.
Mm-hmm. So
not really. He was okay, but he could get up over that hump. That's like that game 7 book, 1998. I never forget. If he would have did what he did, that would blow us out.
Mm-hmm.
But he's a good coach, cool enough. But he could have won some championship, maybe 3 with Philly.
Okay. Well,
me myself personally, like MB, if I'm coaching him, you're not shooting no threes. You in that paint. You see what you did the other night? Talk about dominating.
Well, you talking about that B, right? You talking about that B. You talking about that B, right?
Huh?
You talking about B to Jokic?
B.
Okay, B.
I mean, Joe can do it all. Joe can do it all. And not this is you put B in that paint for myself. He is another shot.
Mm-hmm.
Look, dude, freak don't want to shoot 3. They ain't joking, man. I mean, Joe can do it all now. Don't get it wrong. But I don't see Joe win another one.
I don't know about that. I think Jokic got a good chance to win one this year. Very great chance. Very, very big chance to win this year. Very good chance. I had to see the team. I had to see the team constructed right now that in a 7-game series, other than maybe Philly, and other than Philly, that's going to be a great series. But other than Philly, I don't see a team that can really, really challenge Jokic and Denver.
Right. The only way you win in Denver again, Murray got to be up. If Murray ain't there,
oh yeah, definitely. He got to be healthy. You definitely do. Go ahead, Bo.
Hey, Rock, I got a question for you. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
So last weekend you had the Denver Nuggets go over there and visit Boston in Boston. Let me ask you this question. Do you think that was a statement game? Or do you think mainly Boston underestimated Denver? How do you feel about that game? Because Denver won that game 102-100. How do you feel about that game?
It didn't tell him was off.
I'm sorry, what you say, Rock? I can't hear you.
He said Tatum was off.
He was, but still, Denver actually came from behind and won that game. They stayed tit for tat halfway through the fourth quarter and pulled it out in the end. So the effort was there. So at the end of the day, Rock, at the end of the season, I felt like Boston was the team to beat because they just jumped out ahead of everybody with their record. I mean, they were like 25-5 at one point in time. Seemed like they were unbeatable. But it's to the point where Denver was like, hey, we're going 3,000, 2,500 miles across the United States to play in this basketball game. This team thinks they're better than us. We're champs. Let's go show this team that we can go over there and beat them on their court just to let them know that, hey, we are here. Do you think that was Denver's mindset?
Yeah. I mean, Tatum was off.
Tatum was off.
Me, myself personally, though, they played without Marcus Smart.
Hey, Marcus Smart has colorful hair, but at the end of the day, I felt like they should have kept him.
I don't know. I don't know. I might have to agree. I might have to agree with Rock on that one.
To me, Marcus Smart was the heart and soul of the team. I mean, he made some key shots, he missed some key shots. But, at the end of the day, Boston has a salary cap where you about to be paying 2 people $300 million. So you got to start releasing people who are going to have a high budget as well.
Okay. One other question. I'm gonna stay on basketball. John Moran.
I'm sorry, I can't
What
hear
y'all
you.
think about the injury?
I think at John Morant injury, what you think about the injury, Bo?
Oh man, it's devastating for Memphis all the way around, especially after he's already been out X amount of games, 25 games to start the season, and now he comes back and he gets injured, and he's probably just going to be out for the rest of the year. Rehab. It's going to hurt the franchise. I don't know which way they're going to go from here as far as the record for the rest of the year, but I'm sure it's not going to be one that's in the top 8 to make the postseason. But I will say this: if you're out there looking for a basketball coach at the end of the year and your team is in the bottom of the barrel, like the 5, 6 worst records, and you're thinking about going in a new direction as a head basketball coach in the NBA, hey, there's a guy right here from Milwaukee who just got let go with an
Adrian
outstanding
Griffin.
record. So there's an
Right,
opportunity.
right.
And for Griffin, hey, if I'm you, hey, I'll go ahead and sit down and relax the rest of this year and bite the bullet, get paid that salary that they got you on, however many years it is, and go find another job next year. You get 2 salaries and have fun at it. And hopefully, you never know. You can reiterate what you're doing now and maybe make a playoff run next year and get paid 2 salaries. It could be a win-win, but I know it's something that Milwaukee has to eat because now they're paying 2 coaches. So at the end of the day, they pretty much need to win or else they're losing money on the back end.
Right. Another question. Morant. I feel like he needs to pick up at least 15 pounds of weight.
Well, that could be something that needs to happen with him for his body. I just feel like, maybe his body needs to get stronger. And he is a strong guy because he's endured 82 game seasons and then the playoffs and been healthy. So maybe the layoff was an attribute to his injury because he hasn't been going full speed when his body's used to being in a regimen at this point in time of the year. Maybe that played a part. But then again, you never know. Who knows how well an individual takes care of their body away from the basketball court. What people do in their homes, we don't know. I'm not saying he's doing anything wrong. He may not. But hopefully he can get himself together and lift better and get stronger and come back healthier. I hate to see anybody get injured. And if this is the case, man, put in the extra work. Ja Morant, put the work in. Get healthy, man, and come back stronger and better. And also more mentally prepared. Hopefully you can go a whole season without any issues and good health. And we want to see you win in the NBA because you're a phenomenal basketball player. And keep your head up and hope that you get better.
All right, I want to hear it from a different perspective, Rock. I want to hear it from a different perspective here. John, I agree with what Bo said, but I disagree with it at one point. I think this puts Memphis in a better position because right now you only have one star, which is Ja Morant. What happened is Memphis loses right now. They lose. They're probably not going to make the playoffs, but they will be in the lottery and they will get a chance at Alex Sarr. Now, I think if they get Alex Sarr, then instantly it's an issue because Ja Morant is used to being the star. But Alex Sarr, the 7-1 player, will be the instant star in Memphis. He will be kind of like what Wemby is in San Antonio right now. Alex Sarr, white kid, that can really ball. Who's a center, 7-1. Huh? He's 7-1 prospect, can shoot the three, he puts in the veins of a Wimpy Wama. He's in that girth there. And I think if he's right now the number 1 prospect in the league to come in. Also you got Donovan Clilligan, who has an opportunity, and then Kyle Flipowski for Duke, who's also a big guy that can play. But I think if Alex Sarr comes to Memphis, now you got a problem, Ja, because Ja is not, you still be kind of the man, but you kind of be a little bit of old news. And because now you got Sarr, now the organization can make a decision to say, hey man, you've been hurt the last couple of years, you've been suspended, you've had all these issues, and we're paying you $200 million, right? And it hasn't played dividend. We're back in the lottery this year. Now it gives Memphis a little bit of a token to say maybe we can move on from him, maybe we can go to a different direction, or we can let him play second fiddle to Sarr, who will be our new big guy. Just an interesting dynamic to think of. I'm not saying it's going to happen because you know what, the lottery, the ping pong ball, I know it's not ping pong anymore. The ping pong ball drops different places. But I'm just saying that if that happens, Ja Morant goes from being the top elite person, which he still will be as far as on the court. But off the court, oh man, Memphis is looking as an organization, and this is what we was talking about with Lamar Jackson earlier too. Memphis is looking as an organization for someone that they could really promote and someone that they can get behind as an organization to actually build up and be the face of the organization, especially with all the stuff that's happening with John Morant. I personally wish the best for John Morant, but we're going to see. It's going to be an interesting dynamic to see with them being in the lottery and possibly getting one of these top players here and seeing what happens with the dynamic when he's not the man anymore, when he's not the top player on the team anymore, and they have a young stud or a young player that they're looking to and say, hey, this is our future.
I can pretty much guarantee you, King, if that happens, he's going to be out of Memphis because they're a small market and they pretty much can't afford to pay two budding superstars.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. So it's going to be interesting to see that dynamic is going to be interesting to see what happens with John Morant. So I think this plays kind of like what we're talking about. And Rob, before we let you go, I want to ask you about something too. And Bo, we kind of dip into this because we said we'll talk about it. This kind of plays in with Draymond also. Well, how Draymond has been carrying himself and getting himself in trouble, find himself suspended and stuff like that. We found out broke news today that Draymond was not selected to the Team USA team, and Grant Hill said, Broken said that it's because of his antics and his suspension, which played a big reason for him not being a part of Team USA. How do you feel about that, Rock, and then how you feel about that, Bo?
Rock, I'll let you go first on this one. I got a good comment on this one. I'll let you go first.
Because at the end of the day, Draymond knows what he's doing. And which I like Draymond. Don't get me wrong. He knows what he's doing, but his character is out of whack. He's a good defensive player, don't get me wrong. But them light-skinned boys, without them, I don't think he could be Draymond. That's just my thing. I mean, I'm going to say. And not only that, he won't be back in the Golden State next year. Y'all know that.
Oh, so you think Golden State is letting him go?
Be back in Golden State.
You think this is last year?
Yeah, because that suspension, and then your background hurts.
Shots fired. Go ahead, Bo.
That people with him. You only back in Golden State. That team would be broke up.
You think they rebuild with Curry?
Yeah, but I don't got mind on the age.
You think I see? Let me say this. I see no way, Bo. Go ahead, Bo. I just don't see any way to get rid of Steph Curry. I think Draymond is up for grabs. I think his shooting part is up for grabs. Klay Thompson's up for grabs. But I see 0% that Golden State gets rid of Steph Curry. 0%, unless they get a fantastic deal. 0%. 0%. What do you feel, Bo?
Well, I'm going to go back to the first topic first about Draymond, and then I'll deep dive into the Stephon situation. Draymond Green is a risk. I think the NBA is looking at that from that perspective. For him going overseas playing basketball, I don't think that they want to represent USA based on his antics out there on the basketball court. If it wasn't for that, he would probably be in uniform. He just come out of therapy sessions with counselors about his behavior. So I don't think it'd be a good fit for him to put on that uniform and go over there. Would I want him to go? I would love for him to have that opportunity to go over there. But too many things have happened over the past 2 to 3 months with his behavior towards other players. So you can imagine if he goes overseas and do that to other players out of the country. You don't want to be in a melee on a basketball court with a fight between the USA and another country just because Draymond doesn't know how to act or know how to behave. So I think they're looking at all of that as a risk factor. It's sad that he's not on the team. But at the end of the day, these are the antics that he displayed. Maybe he can learn from it. He may miss out on a gold medal behind it. And, it's a learning lesson. We all got to grow up and be grown men and act accordingly. And hopefully he'll get that in order. Otherwise, if he does it again in the NBA, there could be sometimes catastrophic to the point where he may miss a half a season and may bar him for a year. And then I'll touch base a little bit about the situation with Steph Curry. As far as the Oracle Center is concerned over there in San Francisco, people pay to go see Steph Curry play. Steph Curry is not going anywhere. He's a cemented player over there with that franchise. I think he can stay there and retire until the end. Um, he'll continue to get contracts as long as he can hit jump shots. So keep that in mind, or either stay healthy. But yeah, he's not going anywhere. He's going to have a statue out in front of the stadium.
Mm.
Right. And then, excuse me, gentlemen, another question that I want to say is about how you said about the statue and all that. Y'all the Lakers fans, so, gentlemen.
Re-ask that question again, Rob. Ask that again.
Okay, you both y'all the Lakers fans.
Right.
Okay. Since LeBron been in LA, how long been LeBron been in LA now? About 5 years?
I think this might be year 4.
4 or 5. Yeah, 4 or 5.
He was there. He was there.
Yeah, he was there for a year before COVID.
Right, that's right.
2018.
Do math now. Do your math.
6 years. This will be number 6. 2018.
The COVID. All it was about 4 months. Then they still, okay, now, first year, he wasn't going to make the playoff. He laid down. He shut it down. Okay? Then the second year with the COVID, and we was shut down about 4.5 months. Okay? Now you want them in the bubble, okay? I'm going to give you that. So ever since after that bubble, he ain't seen no more there. Think about it. He ain't seen no more there. And see that bubble, I know he don't shut it down twice since that bubble. I shut it down earlier. Think about it now.
What'd you think, Bo?
I can barely hear him.
And one other question. I'm going to say, if it wasn't for that bubble, he would not be in LA this long.
Bo, what you think? He says LeBron has been kind of disappointed since he's been in LA. How do you feel about LeBron's tenure in Los Angeles?
I'm going to take a deep breath on that one. It's a roller coaster ride, to be honest to you. Rob, you got some great pointers on this one. You really do. Because when you take a look at this one from the LeBron James legacy, not just the legacy overall, but the legacy in LA for the short time of his career, you know, LeBron has delivered a championship everywhere he's been. And a lot of people are saying, hey, this was a bubble. There's an asterisk around it. You know, this is at a centralized location, and there are no fans there, and several other key players have opted out of playing in this championship. So, you know, you can look at it a lot of different ways. The Lakers did deliver the banner. They've got the rings, the Larry O'Brien trophy, but you can't say they 100 percentile earned it. But they had it. So when you take a look back at LeBron's legacy outside of that rock, you got a good point. That's his staple. Hey, I delivered you guys a ring. Otherwise, Rock, he's been a great player in LA. But as you can see that the stamina, the fatigueness is beginning to wear and show on him, especially in the fourth quarters. I mean, last year against Denver in the fourth quarter, throughout the entire series, he did not hit a three-pointer in the fourth quarter at all. Fatigue. He's getting older. That's expected with age. That's automatic. But I will say this about LeBron is a fantastic player. He's a great player. He's done good with the Lakers. We've made playoffs. We haven't made playoffs with him. But we're at a point right now where he's getting paid over 40 some odd $1 million a year, and he hasn't delivered a championship since the bubble, but he signed another contract since the bubble. So that tells you something. We did the same thing with Kobe Bryant in his last years there. Last 3 years, he was making over $40 million a year. Yeah, people were saying, Lakers, you're paying Kobe over $40 million a year, and you're not winning. You're only winning 20-something games. You paid him $40-something million one year. He tore an Achilles, come back the next year, didn't make the playoffs. But guess what? Over there, overseas, in a different country, Kobe Bryant jersey was the #1 selling jersey in that country, and that country had over 3 billion residents. So if his jersey's #1 and it sold to 10%, and if it sold to 10% of the population, 300 million, which the population here is 350 million, basically you're seeing that 5 out of every 6 people in the whole country has a Kobe Bryant jersey with a tariff added just to send it over there. So you can imagine how much money the Lakers were making off of that jersey. So they couldn't afford to pay him $40 million. That was a drop in a box. The same thing is going on with LeBron James. It's no different. So that's why he's getting paid the money the way he's getting paid, and the people are coming to watch him play. And not only that, everywhere you go to see a Lakers game outside of LA, it's going to be the hottest and most expensive ticket that night. So that's why he's getting paid the money he's getting paid. It's not all about winning championships. It's all about marketing. But Rob, I'm with you. I'm with you 100% on this. He hasn't really shown the Lakers fanfare anything outside of that bubble. I'm with you. And if it wasn't for that, they may have already dismissed him and moved on and got somebody else. But that jersey is selling, and it's a hot commodity. And Jeannie Buss, don't get me wrong, she want to win, but she's about that mighty dollar too.
All right, LeBron.
I'm gonna tell y'all. I'm gonna say this last one first. Don't y'all know last night he was not playing the anniversary when Kobe.
You'll have to repeat that one, King. I can't hear
The
it.
anniversary of Kobe scoring 81 the night before last night.
Anniversary. Night before last, it was last night, it was night before last.
Night before last.
He scored 81, and it was the same day. African American made history for the Falcons that was one dude and caught at the time.
Hey, Rob, man, that's the Kobe Bryant effect. That's the Kobe Bryant effect. It's the younger generation out there now playing in the NBA. A lot of those kids idol Kobe. You got a lot of people out here playing sports now named after Kobe. So at the end of the day, man, hey, he still lives on. A lot of those guys, he's done some phenomenal things on the court. I had a guy tell me yesterday. I asked him, let me ask you a question. He's one of my employees, and he's a good guy. He works very hard. And I asked him, he knows the game very well. And I said, let me ask you a question. I said, Manny, where do you rank Kobe Bryant? And he said, I got him in my top 3. He said, Michael Jordan #1, but I got him in my top 3. So, and then there are other sportscasters who work for ESPN. I've heard a couple of them come out and say, hey, I've got Kobe in my top 5. Me personally, I've got Kobe in my top 5. So at the end of the day, Kobe Bryant has had a phenomenal effect on kids, players, NBA players, no matter what level of basketball. I can go out on a stretch, and I would say this. Michael Jordan, the most gifted athlete I've ever seen, 6'6", running the 4.3 840. How many people 6'6" running the 4.3 840? That's track speed. That's NFL speed. And here's the thing about Kobe. To me, I've never seen anybody finish at the rim like Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant could dunk from either side of the rim, coming from either side of the rim. I've never seen nobody finish like him. Well, I've seen people out jump Kobe. I've seen people out jumping, but I haven't seen people be that creative at the rim like Kobe. Rock, I will say this, and King, I've seen him play live twice. When they came to Atlanta to play the Hawks, I was there tonight when he scored his 25,000 point. They stopped the game at the free throw line, gave him the basketball. I will say this about Kobe Bryant. Out of the 2 times I've seen him play live, I have never seen no one faster than him on the basketball court.
Go ahead. Oh, that was it?
And not only that, he seemed to out jump anybody who was trying to guard the blocking shot. So he could get any shot
This
off that he
call is
wanted.
now being recorded.
The fastest person up and down the court.
Yeah, but,
Two things about Kobe Bryant on his anniversary of his 3-year death.
He can go either way. I like the ball playing home. But I'm ride with that home boy because I know the ball is a turnover machine. He's real trying to it's not quick. And the big training. Them Super Bowl thing.
How you feel about that, Bo?
I can't hear him.
He said if with Harbaugh and if Harbaugh wins, Jim Harbaugh wins the national championship, they'll be first two coaches to win. One wins the national championship, and the other one wins the Super Bowl. They'll be first brothers to do that.
I'm glad you said that. Right, you know what, man? I never looked at it like that, but you got a great point. I didn't even think about that. That's a good point. One winning the national championship in college football, the other one winning the Super Bowl. If I'm not mistaken, haven't they seen each other in the Super Bowl?
Yeah, they did. John beat him when he was with Baltimore. And wait a minute, was that him or Bill? Yeah, that was John beat him with Baltimore, and then with Ray Lewis last championship, and he had San Francisco. Jim had San Francisco.
Hey, Rob, better yet, that's a good point. I didn't look at that angle. So, Rob, better yet, let me ask you this question. How do you think Jim Harbaugh fares over there in San Diego? How do you feel about that?
You got the quarterback. You feel like your defense has tightened up a little in great season.
He said he got a quarterback. You see what happens.
Hey, that's gonna be interesting. King, since I came in late because I had a staff meeting tonight, so King, it's a hot topic, man. It just keep floating at the bottom of the screen,
Okay.
and kind of makes me want to brush up to see, have you guys already discussed Haley Davidson? Have y'all talked about that yet?
No, I was waiting to wait till you get here to talk about it and get acclimated with it. I did what Haley Davidson, the transgender golf player that won the NSST, I think that's the name of the championship. That now supposedly.
I don't even really watch golf.
All right, so I did want to speak on something real quick before we went there, Bo. Hey, Rob, we thank you, man. We appreciate you, doctor.
Okay, so same time next week.
Same time,
Yes,
same bad channel, same bad time.
All right.
Hey, Rob, it's good to hear from you, brother. Thank you for calling in, man. Take care of yourself, brother.
All right, man. Same y'all, man.
All right, bye.
All right.
Yeah.
I did want to say about LeBron James, 182 and 35 as a Laker. 182 and 35. So not the best record. Also, fifth year. This is his lowest scoring output as a Laker, only averaging 24 points a game this year. This will be his lowest year, which is starting to be understandable. He's kind of old, so you know what I'm saying. He's still breaking 24, which is 24 and 7, with 4 assists, 4 or 5 assists. So he's still having a solid year. But you can kind of Father Time is undefeated, so that's gonna be interesting. All right, you ready to get into it, Bo? Let's go ahead and talk about it real quick. It's been down there. We've been talking about it. If you guys didn't know, on Sunday, I think that was Sunday, that she, all the pronouns is kind of crazy, Bo. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I got to work on my pronouns game. I don't want to be disrespectful for anybody out there. So I'm gonna call you what you want to be called. If you want to be called a she, you know what I'm saying? Hichi, won the Haley Davidson won the I want to say it's the NSXT, if I'm not mistaken. I want to make sure I call that right. The NSXT golf championship. it, it's turned into a huge deal. And I shared the story with you today, Bo. We was talking about it, the decision. Yeah, the NXT Women's Pro Tour. And with her winning that, she actually should get, if I'm not mistaken, she gets a chance to be on the LPGA. That gives her opportunity to be on the LPGA after winning that tour. She's been seeing now. This I don't agree with. Now a lot of people had it's been an uproar in it. They said that the policies and decisions of the NSST women acknowledges different perspectives. Their primary focus remains supporting the players' aspirations and contributing the journey towards the LPGA. So Davidson earned the scholarship to play on the men's team at Wilmington University in a Division II, NCAA Division II scholar school in Delaware before transferring to the men's team at Christopher Newport, an NCAA Division III school in Virginia. And then on September 24, a date tattooed on her right forehead, Davidson began undergoing hormone treatments. In January 2021, underwent gender reassignment surgery, a 6-hour procedure that required under the LPGA gender policy. Davidson, who now works as a social media NBC, works in social media for NBC and Peacock, says she has deleted her Twitter app, claiming the top prize at the NXT Women's Classic on January 17th. Admission in a resort and club, Holly Hills. She estimates she's received between 5 and 10 death threats in recent days, though she tries not to read as much. She says it comes with the territory, I suppose. Someone who is at home really frustrated with themselves, trying to take it out on me. If I don't laugh, I'm going to be miserable. Now, she's caught a lot of flack, and this has become national news. This is transcended sports news, and that's why I want to talk about it too, Bo, because this is transcended sports news and become a national conversation on LGBTQ rights, trans rights, and also women's rights, and the line that has to be told between fairness between someone born a woman and someone deciding that they are a woman now. How do you feel, Bo, about the situation, and what's your thought process?
Let me just start out by saying I don't want to be insensitive to anybody out there, but at the end of the day, there are different strokes for different folks.
Literally, that is
I
hilariously funny. I know you weren't trying to be funny there, but that's
no,
hilariously funny. Go ahead. I know you not. I
I'm
know you've been super serious, but that's funny though. Go ahead. That's a pun that you did to Tim, but that's a great pun though. Go ahead. Great. That's great. Go ahead.
So when you have that, King, the reason why I say that because I've worked in an environment as an on-site manager where I've hired somebody in that realm before, and it's very critical that you treat them with the respect that they want to be treated with, because a situation is kind of close to where you see one thing, but there's an actual different feeling going on within that individual. So you have to be very careful of how you entertain that type of conversation with those people. And I've been in front of one doing an onboarding, hiring, and brought somebody aboard where when we asked them, where do you want to use the restroom? By law, they get an opportunity to choose where they want to use the restroom. 99% chose to go into the women's restroom if it was a guy transferring over to a woman. But we had to have a meeting with the women to allow for them to be comfortable with that person going into the restroom with them. And, the other 1% option chose where we had a universal bathroom. So when you have a situation like that, where a player has transferred their body, their hormones, but still have the strength of the shell of the person who they used to be, and in competition and competing, to me personally, I feel like there's a slight advantage there, because I've seen one person transfer over and their dynamics is not 100% female. Although it's about 75% female, but still you have the shell of the male and the male masculine build slightly. which is still a little bit stronger than the female on a competitive side, I think that gives that person an advantage. But by law, they're allowing the individual to compete or individuals to compete. I think we saw the same thing a couple of years back in track and field. But when you look at it for what it's worth, until the Supreme Court steps in or state rights step in and decide to outlaw this, then there's pretty much nothing we can do about it. And we could possibly, it's 2024, start seeing more of it based on trend settings. But me personally, though, if I had to give my opinion on it, I would say it's an advantage. But until things change, then we have to live with that until the Supreme Court or the Constitution weigh in. Um, but just know that when someone decides to change from one person to the next person, there's a huge emotional effect that caused that situation to happen. And psychological too. I think they have to go through evaluations, mental evaluations in order to do so because there's a time period involved in it because it's such a dramatic change to a human being. But overall, though, I think that from a sports perspective, I think that they really need to cap it to take a look at it to see if there's truly an advantage. But I'm quite sure from a hormonal, from estrogen to testosterone, that there surely is an advantage. And I think maybe they need to weigh in and see what they need to do to fix it.
I think first of all, we want to make sure we say this. Anybody that's doing death threats is ridiculous. Like you guys should be ridiculous. You be ashamed. You ladies and gentlemen, whoever's doing death threats, you guys should be ashamed of yourselves. Like that, we don't condone that. That's not the type of actions that you. Even if you don't agree with the lifestyle, even if you don't agree with what's happening, even if you don't like the fact of what occurred and what transpired, to throw death threats or to threaten someone is utterly ridiculous and despicable. Right? It's despicable. Um, at the end of the day, I think it's our job to protect life and protect. And we live in a country where people have a right to decide on whichever one they decide. They have a right to choose. So they have a right to choose their lifestyle and what they want to do, right? So those people who went out and did death threats and all those things, I don't support. I don't have uh, um, any patience for you. I think that's ridiculous, and I think you should find something better to do with your time that's more productive. Okay, so I don't condone it. I don't think we as a show condone that, but I think we both can agree upon that. We don't condone that type of activity or that type of bullying at in any sense, right? We don't condone that.
It doesn't fit in sports and it doesn't fit in real life.
Right.
At the end of the day, if you got to go that far out to do something like that, go find something else to do to bar your time. Because human beings have feelings, and we don't want anybody to feel indifferent or to look over their shoulder because they think that someone is out to get them just because they're participating in a sport. That's unheard of. So the person who is actually, or persons who are actually out there committing these death threats, please go seek psychological evaluation for yourself, because there's seriously an issue within yourself that you're trying to unleash it on other people, and it's really not needed. And this doesn't just happen in golf. This happens in the NFL. From my understanding, the kicker from Buffalo, had to get rid of his Twitter, formerly known as Twitter, because he had issues. So,
Michael Sam,
ladies,
I remember that. Yep.
ladies and gentlemen, sports are very entertaining, but please don't take them so seriously where you want to cause harm to someone. It's not that serious. And a lot of people behave in these manners under the influence of alcohol. So it's okay to be out there in those ball games and enjoy yourself, but know how to enjoy yourself, respect yourself, but more than others. More than anything, respect others. I think that's the right way to go. It should be the right way to go. And just be a good citizen and be a good sportsman.
Well, I think it comes out. I think it comes down to this, and I would love for to hear CC's perspective or a woman's perspective, because we have some other ladies that want to join the show. I would love to hear their perspective on this. And for me personally, I'm always looking at stuff differently. So even from a religious standpoint, I'm a very religious man. I have my agreements and disagreements in it. My thing goes past religion to, okay, is it fair scientifically, biologically, is it fair? Is there a fair advantage? Is there a fair advantage even with, you know, I think now they've asked her for a testosterone test. Even with all those, is it an unfair advantage as a man competing with the women? Now that's a conversation that we can have, right? And we can have that conversation intelligently and respectfully without dissing it. Is it a fair advantage? Even if a transgender person have gone through like Haley has and have made the proper changes or transition to from one lifestyle to the other, does that still negate the advantage of them once biologically being a man? And I think that's a conversation, a bigger conversation to be had when we're talking about competitiveness and fair, equal and being fair. And if you see that there is an unfair advantage for a trans athlete, then you have to make some rules and make some concessions, right? And my thing is this: I think what's really bold, to be honest with you, in this situation, we're kind of we're, even though we're part of the narrative, we're kind of we're definitely the minute part of the narrative. Because I think at the end of the day, in this situation, you're not having it the other way around. You're not having uh, the women that's doing the transition to men, the women that are born naturally transition to men, being able to go into male sports and kind of dominate. This is more or less being men transitioning to women and then going into women's sports and dominating it. I think this is an issue in MMA with Cyborg. I think this has been an issue in certain other sports and basketball and different things like that. But I think at the end of the day, I think the major party that's going to have to speak, and really we have to really, even though we know sports is a male dominated situation, we really have to stand back and really hear what the women think. We really, as men, we have to stand back because they're competing against, the transgender woman. You know what I'm saying? The men, it's just a man competing against another man. That's how we will look at it. You know what I'm saying? But the women that are competing against the transitioned woman, they're the ones that's going to really have to stand back and say, okay, I don't feel like this is fair and I don't agree with it, or I'm okay with it. Cool, let it rock. And I think that's who we're gonna have to really, really attentively listen to, because I've seen a lot of backlash from women saying that this isn't fair, and I seen I seen some say, okay, it's we understand. So I think they're gonna have to weigh that, and I really would love to hear what women have to say about this issue, because they're the one that's necessarily dealing with this really more than men are.
And me personally, King, I would like to see a survey.
Yeah. Hmm.
I mean, if I could do a mythology survey on it, I would love to get one out of 100 women, just to see what that ratio would turn out to be, along with 100 comments by the person say yay or nay and why. I think that would be fantastic. I think a survey is probably something that Congress really need to take a look at. And I think
Mm.
that itself could generate a lot of conversation on which way to lean towards yay versus nay of allowing the transgender from the male to the woman to compete in the women's sports. And I want the survey, and I would like for the survey to be at least 100 women at a minimum.
Mm.
And,
Gotcha.
and I think that would be cool. I would love to see a survey on that.
I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens. This is an interesting dynamic, and like you said, we're here now. Like 2024 is here. Like, this is something that we're gonna have to deal with. Like, we made jokes about Joanna Man, years ago, and now we get here. We're here. And we actually have uh, um, transition men that are competing with women, and not just athletic sports, but combat sports also. You know what I'm saying? And that, for me personally, that's a line drawer. You know what I'm saying? So when we start talking about combat sports and stuff like that, I'm, you know, I know we had the issues with the track team where you had the three guys the transgender uh, uh, women that won 1 and 2 in the track tournament and track and field. You know, a lot of people had some things to say, negative to say about this. This is going to be interesting. I think the one reason why we've been able to kind of dodge this bullet is no one's really had um the success of this nature to this point, the success to this ilk, right? So you haven't had anyone to have success to on this stage, a transgender person that has transitioned to have success on a national stage like this golfer has, who possibly now can be a part of the LGPA, and if she's successful winning, that narrative is going to be wow. It's going to be very interesting to see how people deal with that narrative. And I thought this was an interesting conversation because we deal with the hate, but after we get past the hate situation, now we're dealing with, okay, let's really have a conversation and about fairness, equality, and you know what I'm saying, really see how people really feel about the situation, and then we can make our decisions based on that.
And so, also, ladies and gentlemen out there, if you're listening from a core standpoint, if you guys don't follow golf outside of Tiger Woods and really don't know golf, golf is a game of geometry. It's nothing but lines, segment, and slopes. So when you take Davidson, who is lining up to hit off of the tee, off of a par four, three, or five, basically right off the bat, if they're strong enough to drive the ball faster in a straight line towards the hole, then that's an advantage because that means that they've hit the ball closer to the hole on the very first swing, which means that they could easily get a par or eagle when somebody else may get a par or birdie or eagle or bogey. So it basically takes the bogey out of the way unless they just completely hits it offline. But they're automatically hitting the ball closer to the hole because they're stronger. So this is what makes a champion from someone who has changed their hormones and their sexuality from a man to a woman who still have the man strength, drive the ball faster, is closer to the hole. So the percentages increase that you have an opportunity to put the ball in the hole for either a birdie, a par, or eagle, which increases the opportunity for a victory as long as you don't hit the ball offline. And that's for the ladies and gentlemen out there who don't really follow golf.
Thank you for that. And I think that's a big deal. I think it's gonna be interesting to see it go forward. It's gonna be interesting to see how many. Like I know Fox News has been on it. You know they've you know that's something that's that narrative they like carrying the narrative for what they have. I hadn't heard as much from ESPN or CNN as much, but it's going to be interesting going forward. And that's why I want to jump on to be one of the first ones because I'm not hearing a lot of other podcasts really talk about this issue, right? And I think they stay clear from it, you know, for obvious reasons, you know. And I think we're intelligent enough and we're sensitive enough to not uh purposely be offensive, right? So at the end of the day, this is a topic I think is a very important topic that's going to be at the forefront of sports. Like you said, it's 2024. This is going to be the forefront of this is going to be at the forefront of sports going forward. Especially, but and I hate to say this, and people get mad when I say it, but it's the truth. More in women's sports than men's sports. It's more in women's athletics than it is in men's athletics. This is going to be a bigger deal in women's athletics than it is in men's athletics. Because if you have a man that you know, a woman transitions to a man, it's just biologically different in certain instances. You know what I'm saying? So you know, I don't know. I don't know very many women. I do know one or two. I don't know very many women that can run with Bo Brown. You know what I'm saying? They can. That nigga in his face. Your face told on you so bad right there. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, I can answer that question. In today's world, there are several women who can run with me. I'm getting older now, so I'm
But I'm
not
saying
out
the
there
young high
screaming
school
anymore.
ball. I don't know very many young high school women that can run with a Bo Brown. You know what I'm saying? So I prime example. When last year when I was teaching, we had it was funny. We was doing we had fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth grade taught middle school, and during our fields day, right? We had fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth grade, fields day. So someone had the bright idea. Well, let's get the girls do tug of war against the boys, right? Fifth grade, the girls destroyed the boys. And I was like, y'all need to man up. You know what I'm saying? I was so disappointed. The girls destroyed them in tug of war. Sixth grade, it was closer. It's like real close. And I think the girls barely won in sixth grade too. Seventh grade, destruction. The boys destroyed them. Eighth grade, it was so ugly in eighth grade. The grown women went out there. The grown teachers, women went and tried to help the girls and told the coaches that we couldn't be a part of it. And them boys destroyed all the women. I mean, they were on the floor. The line was they almost ripped the cord out the girls' hands. What I'm saying is, once you start getting to a certain age, there's a difference that starts happening physically between girls and boys and young men and young women. And that's just natural biology. You know what I'm saying? So when you get into that range and you start getting into that situation that happens, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So I think this is going to be something that is going to really, really, really test. Because you already have people saying, well, he couldn't even win in D2 and D3 with the men, and he's competing with the ladies now. You know what I'm saying? I mean, now she's competing with the ladies, but when he was a man, he couldn't even win in D2 and D3. You know what I'm saying? So you're already having those comparisons. So I think this is really, honestly, I think, and hey, this is going to be funny, but, this is really affecting the women who in a large capacity are more acceptive of the LGBTQIA than men are. So I would love to, once we get some of the ladies, I would love to revisit this conversation with them and see their thought process and see what they have to say about it.
I would also like to see what the Congress Insight Sports Committee got to say about this. This is going to be interesting because this topic is going to come to Congress again, and they're going to have to make some decisions because the LPGA, they're going to put a little pressure on them, and they're going to get in front of them, and they're going to ask for some things, I'm sure, and Congress is going to have to give them a yay or nay. And this is going to be interesting because this is probably going to go live. But I will say this to Davidson, Haley. Congratulations on your win. But at the end of the day, it's going to be some challenges uphill for you based on that victory and possibly more victories to come. Continue to play golf until, we get a verdict of what the yay versus nay is on this. And, stay healthy and stay safe. That's number one. And number two, but, for the women out there who play golf or for women in general, we would love to hear from you on this topic. And don't be surprised if we may get a woman on the show and it could come back up again just to get her partake. It's very interesting to see how this is going to play out because, you're going to have those naysayers. You're going to hear somebody say, oh, that person is cheating. And then you can flip a coin and you're going to hear the other person say, well, how are they cheating? Because now Haley Davidson used to be a guy, but now it's a female and it's a female sport. So where's the happy medium in that? And that's for not me and King to figure out, but that's for Congress and the LPGA to figure out. So stay tuned on that one.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be interesting. It's an interesting dynamic. It's gonna be an interesting dynamic to see how this goes and to see how it is. And I'm very excited to see what the response is going to be. And I think that's going to be something that we will see play out over the future, over the coming weeks and years, months and years coming forward. Bo, man, I appreciate you, brother. I know you're a little late tonight, but man, I appreciate you taking the opportunity to come out here and joining us tonight. It means a lot that you came through, bro.
Hey, man, I appreciate it, man. Got in kind of late tonight, had a staff meeting, but that's every other Wednesday for me. We tie off at 5 to 6 o'clock where we cover SQDC, safety, quality, delivery, and cost. And we actually try to find ways to shave money for the company and get insight from all of the supervisors and managers. And we just collaborate and have a good time, but we're also serious about our metrics. So sorry I'm late tonight, but great stuff, great feed. Rock, buddy, thank you for joining the show. We appreciate you. King, I don't know where we were before that, but everybody who tuned in, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys as well.
Thank everyone. Listen, we appreciate you guys. Remember, man, if you start off right, you end up right. Quincy, come to the building. If you start off right and you keep doing it right and you end up right, you'll always be doing righteous. So make sure you try to stay righteous. Love, Christ one. Anything else you want to say, Bo?
Ladies and gentlemen, we're probably going to have a special guest next week. Please tune in. It's been a long day, a long night. I got to get back up early in the morning and hit that clock. Well, I'm sorry, I don't hit the clock, but hit Washington, D.C. So, ladies and gentlemen, peace be unto you guys. King, real quick, man, what's your prediction this weekend?
All right.
AFC NFC Championship game.
Okay, here we go. You're going to be shocked. Shots fired. I got Baltimore beating Kansas City. I got them beating them 34-17.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's supposed to rain over here in this area. Baltimore is supposed to endure rain Sunday during the football game, so passing may be at a minimum. I don't think it's going to be torrential, but it's going to be a good rain pour during that football game, which is played outside off of I-95 at M&T Stadium. Temperature is going to be about 40 degrees for that game. King, smart people think alike. I got Baltimore winning this game, but I got them winning a low-scoring game. I got them winning 24-20 at home against Patrick Mahomes. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to say this about Patrick Mahomes. Good God Almighty, you cannot rule number 15 out in red because he is a bad man.
Hey, did I call it? Did I call it last week? Did I call it?
Hey,
call the score.
You're talking about a young man who has went to 6 straight AFC Championship games since he's been a starter. A lot of people say he's on pace to catch Brady. But Lamar Jackson, if you're going to do it, this has to be the year. But another thing, too, King, Kansas City defense has stepped up. Kansas City defense is laying that right there. They are out there hitting.
Yes, sir.
They're playing good
Baltimore's
football.
a little bit more. I think Baltimore's a little bit more physical. I get the question there. I don't think the rain and everything's gonna be that big of a deal because both teams can run the ball with Pacheco showing that he can run. I think it's gonna be a scoring affair. Whoever has the ball, I think whoever makes the most mistakes loses this game. I am hoping. I really am making that. This is kind of a heart pit for me. I'm hoping that Lamar gets over the hump this time.
I want to see Lamar Jackson win a Super Bowl.
Right.
But if he don't win a Super Bowl, I think Patrick Mahomes will win it again. Patrick Mahomes is the real deal. So Lamar Jackson, this is your chance to write your name in history. You've got a great opportunity, and you can't say that it was a challenge because guess what? You are home. Take care of business at home, and you're in the Super Bowl.
Secondly, who you got? San Francisco, Detroit.
I actually I juggled the thought back and forth about this ball game, King, and I'm gonna have to go with the 49ers on this one, even though I physically think Green Bay beat them last week. Physically, I felt like they beat them, they just didn't win the score because they kept dropping interceptions all over the field. But I think Purdy takes care of the football this time, even with or without Debo. I like San Francisco outside on grass to win this game. It may be a close one without Debo, but I think they'll win. I have no faith in the Lions secondary, and the Lions threw the ball up and down the seam all night long on Tampa Bay. They won't have that against San Francisco.
If Debo's hurt, I gotta go. If it's an injury, I gotta go. Oh, I can't.
You gotta make it ain't no if in it. You gotta make your prediction.
I'm going with if Debo's hurt, I'm going with Detroit. If Debo doesn't play, I'm going with Detroit with the upset. If Debo's hurt, I'm going with Detroit with the upset. You got two physical teams that's gonna hit you in the mouth.
Okay, what if Debo plays?
If Debo plays, San Francisco, Baltimore.
You know what old folks call that? Old folks call that straddling the fence.
It is, but you know what? Because hold on, but wait. You're right. But let me say this. All year, I've said from day one, remember, I said that one thing, the biggest Achilles heel of San Francisco is they have to be all the way healthy. They've shown a propensity that if they have any of their parts not healthy going into a big game, they might get blown out the water. I think that Debo not being there is a huge, because he's a huge security blanket for Brock Purdy. And I think him not being there puts more pressure on IU to step up and make plays and become the number one. And I see them shutting them down. I got Detroit winning this 32-24. 32-24. I got one by touchdown and 2 point conversion.
It's going to be interesting. Let's see how these games turn out. Ladies and gentlemen, please be mindful when these games go off. Stay tuned because the winner of these games receive the conference championship trophy, and also the owners speak along with the NFL commissioner, and somebody else will be representing him at the other game as well. So you'll get a chance, the opportunity to see how these players talk and how they behave. So good luck to all 4 teams. Glad that you guys made it. These are the top 4 teams that the NFL has to offer right now. Let's see how this plays out. I like Baltimore versus San Francisco in the Super Bowl. King says, if this, if that versus Detroit, San Francisco.
Boy, I said Baltimore. I said, well, you know the script. They said the script said it's going to be Baltimore and San Francisco. Now, they said according to the script, it's going to be, they actually said it's already been promoted, Baltimore versus San Francisco. But I'm saying if what's the name is hurt, if their wide receiver is hurt, I got Detroit, and I like Detroit's coach. I do. I like him. My only issue, and they have a quarterback that's been there before. They got a quarterback that's been there, and San Francisco does not. So yeah, I'm going with Detroit 32. What I said, 24, 32-24. Really, I'm gonna go 32-28. I think it's gonna be a close game. 32-24, 32-28. I got Detroit winning that. If the wide receiver doesn't win.
Let's see how this plays out. I want to leave a little tidbit to the Atlanta Falcons fans.
Okay.
The Washington Commanders actually interviewed Eric Bieniemy this week. I don't know how that went, but let's see how that plays out. But Atlanta Falcons, you haven't hired a coach yet. Eric Bieniemy is out there as your head coach. But I will say this: if you hire Eric Bieniemy as your head coach, please go get Leslie Frazier as your defensive coordinator. If you do so, the Atlanta Falcons, you will be in the Super Bowl in 3 years. I can guarantee you, because Frazier is he's a heck of a defensive coordinator. The only thing he needs is opportunity in another job, because he had Buffalo defense #1 in the NFL last season.
I've been hearing this Raheem Morris, Eric Bieniemy. I heard they've moved on from Belichick.
I did too, but you know why?
Why?
Everybody in Atlanta was scared that they was going to get fired if he got the job. Everybody in the front office, from what I was told, they said people were afraid of their jobs left and right, and they talked bad about him and weeded them out.
So they said Belichick is. I hear that he's still an option. And over here, he's still an option, but he's not top candidate. I would say this. I hate to say this. I wouldn't hire Eric Bieniemy. I wouldn't do it. If I'm Falcons, I'm not doing it. I'm not pulling that trigger on him. I would love to see Eric Bieniemy in Cleveland. If you're gonna get somebody, Eric Bieniemy, I want you to go to Cleveland. Cleveland is a prime destination for Eric Bieniemy. Cleveland Browns. I want Eric Bieniemy to go to Cleveland. That's what I want.
I got the question: why?
Huh?
Why Cleveland?
I like I think they have a defense that's strong, and I think he'll be able to deal with. He will be able to legitimately deal with Watson and get the best out of Watson.
Now I agree with that. But Stefanski almost won Coach of the Year, so do you think they're really going to part ways with him?
I think Stefanski did a great job with what he had. I don't think Stefanski is a Super Bowl winning coach. I think he's a good coach. I think he's a transition coach, but he's not a Super Bowl winning coach. I think Airbnb has Super Bowl pedigree. I think it would be good for the Browns, maybe even the Commanders. I don't think a lot of people say I don't think Washington really wants him. I'm gonna be honest with you, because they could have made it. They could have made that hire already. Now I wouldn't be surprised if they don't see a better option and they go with it, but they could have just went ahead and made that hire and said, okay, we're gonna make every coach. They could do like Oakland and said, okay, this is I got, right? So we'll see. If I'm Atlanta, I'm not bringing him to Atlanta. I don't want to see him go to Atlanta. Even if Dak comes, you know they're saying Dak might go to Atlanta. So even if Dak comes to Atlanta, you know what though? You might be convincing me, bro. If Dak goes to Atlanta with Eric Bieniemy, that could be a tough team.
Well, King, here's a rumor mill out there too that I heard about enemy. Don't be surprised if for some reason he winds up back in Kansas City next season. I've heard that rumor as well because at the end of the day, Andy Reid is thinking about calling it a day for the next couple of years. And if enemy's there, they probably just hand him over the job. I'm about like you with the Washington situation. I've heard some things about enemy in Washington. I don't think they're favoring him to be the head coach. That doesn't mean he's not going to get the job, but I do know that there have been some inside rumblings in the locker room with a couple of star players, which I know the names I'm not going to name, that have went straight to the head coach who was there, Rivera, about enemy and his antics and how he's running the team from an offensive standpoint. And then at the end of the day, it was a bad situation to where Rivera actually went public and talked about those things to the media. So that goes from a head coach to offensive coach not keeping things in-house. So where's the transparency when you're looking at that from a management standpoint? It's kind of a wishy-washy thing, like an under-the-bus type thing. But at the end of the day, hope he lands a great job, great opportunity. If he doesn't get the job in Washington, I would love to see him either in Atlanta or back at Kansas City.
All right, we'll see what happens. Does Belichick get a team this year?
No, and I strongly doubt he's going to get one because Belichick, he may, but Belichick is really chasing Don Shula with those wins. You know, he has an opportunity to be the NFL's most winningest coach. He wants to go to a team that has a good quarterback so he can go ahead and get those W's up on his belt, but I don't see that happening right now. Don't forget, Pete Carroll is still out there as well.
Pete Carroll's out there, but you know, I think Pete Carroll, he's going to be happy with the upper management job in Seattle for a while. I don't know if it's a team. What about Pete Carroll to the Falcons?
Well, I've heard that rumor a while back, but I think the Flames just kind of went out on that one. I haven't heard that one. Hey, how about Vic Fangio out as the Dolphins defense coordinator today?
That's a big deal. Do you think who you think they bring in?
I don't know. I've heard Brandon Staley named the ex-head coach for the Chargers. I think we may actually promote Campanello, who's our linebacker coach. But I will say this. The Miami Dolphins' problem this year was not Vic Fangio. He did very good with less. For the half of the year, he had just about half of his defensive starters out. You got to think about it. Between Xavier Howard and Jalen Ramsey, they didn't play together on the same field until week 8. And then Howard turned around and got hurt again, so he was missing both cornerbacks at one point in time, along with both ends with Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb. And then you take a look at it from the standpoint, Jerome Baker, our middle linebacker, was out for 5 weeks. So from a defensive standpoint, altogether, he probably had all 11 starters missed probably about 80 starts. And that's huge for a team for a 17-game season. And we still finished overall in the last 10 games of the regular season and playoffs, we still finished 7th in defense. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I'm glad he's out there. I'm glad he's out there. I thought he should have been fired. I told you at the end of the year, I thought he was the issue with Miami. I think he should go to college. I don't think he should be an NFL head coach.
He already has a job. He already has a job.
With the Eagles, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's going to go there and be that defensive coordinator. He's got a lot of work to do because it takes a while to learn his scheme because his scheme is very good. We were 3rd in the NFL in sacks with over 53 sacks.
I think that's a horrible hire for the Eagles.
Ridiculously horrible hire for them.
Horrible hire. I think the Eagles should have went. I think he should have went to college. I'm not hiring him to be my DC, and I'm definitely not hiring him to be a head coach. I think he should drop down to college. But hey, man, that's what they do with the NFL. They recycle these coaches. Horrible job for the Eagles. I love it because as a Cowboy fan, I love it. But you know, it's a great job for the Cowboy fans because we'll light them up again next year. It don't matter if that's our quarterback or if it's another quarterback. We'll light him up next year with him as a defense coordinator. Horrible job. I think he should be fired. He's the weak link this year for the Miami Dolphins, and I think at the end of the day, they could come through. I know they had a lot of injuries. That's a part of the game. I told you a couple weeks ago. Never been a fan of his.
For some reason, you don't like Vic Fangio.
I've never been. I've never been a fan. When he was the coach of Denver, did not like him. I am not a fan of his. I haven't seen what the affection is with him. He must interview good. He must be the opposite of Airbnb. Airbnb he interviews horribly, and Vic Fangio interviews great. Fangio, whatever his name is.
he's a horrible head coach. I'll give him that. But he's a sustainable defensive coordinator, Kim. I mean, Kim, you got to think about it. When the Eagles went to the Super Bowl, he was the consultant who consulted their defense. He
Yeah,
get paid. Anytime you got a team that has 53 sacks, number 3 in the NFL, and you've lost both of your starting rush ends, you're doing something right.
yeah. I don't rock with him. I don't rock with him at all. 0%.
Hey, I will say this: the rumor mill is that if Mike McDaniel's don't hire a real good defense coordinator and the Miami Dolphins don't produce in 2024, the rumor mill is that this is Mike McDaniel's last year in Miami.
Hope not. If that's the case, Atlanta hire Bill Belichick, get Miami Daniels as your offensive coordinator next year, and you guys will be all right. You guys will be good. With that McDaniels and the weapons that they got in Atlanta, that sounds like a plan. You know what I'm saying? Let's make it. Like I said earlier, people were shocked. I said earlier, bro. I said, hey, Dak goes to Atlanta. That's a plan. You can't.
I don't see that happening though.
That's a plan. I mean, what other team? If Dak can choose whatever team he goes to and get traded to, what other team would you say is in a position that would be good with Dak? It's the Falcons. Good tight end, good wide receiver, good young wide receiver, good running back, decent offensive line, decent defense, possibly a new coach. It's a new start. I don't see anything wrong. When the guy said it today, when I forgot who was it that said it this morning. When he said it today, I said, makes sense. Goes to the NFC South, easy schedule every year. Man, listen, that's a Tom Brady. Hey, listen, that is a Tom Brady choice. Tom Brady choice. Because we think Tampa Bay is going to re-sign Baker Mayfield. They could release him, try to go after that too. But we think Tampa Bay is going to re-sign Baker Mayfield. To me,
he's gonna be cheaper than that. They're gonna re-sign him.
Yeah. To me, the 69 million Atlanta has the cap room. They can do it. It sounds like if I'm that, I'm in Jerry Jones saying, hey man, that was great. Send me to Atlanta. Atlanta goes, okay, we got our start. The crazy thing, the funny thing would be for me, if that happens, I kind of want it to happen now, because that means Atlanta gets that. And that's because I've had so many Atlanta Falcons fans hate on that over the last few years. For them to end up with that would be just poetic. That would be poetic justice. Dak Prescott would be poetic justice. Now, I would be scared of him because I think he got a squad, right? Because I think with Robinson, with what's the tight end? The boy, Pitts, the wide receiver, the young wide receiver they got some players. London, they got some players and they got some weapons. So I would be like, all right, they got something. But then they got that. Here we go. You know what I'm saying?
Man, I have no faith in the Atlanta Falcons with Dak Prescott up on the center whatsoever.
Yeah.
Nothing against Dak, nothing against the Falcons. I just don't see Dak leaving Dallas. I think they're going to try to run it back because they brought McCarthy back. That means that Dak is going to be back. Now, I do know they got, what's his name? Trey Lance over there on the sideline.
That Junior.
Yeah, I mean, if Dak plays bad this year, I think they pull him. But otherwise, I think they're going to give Dak a chance.
Well, this is the thing, Trey Lance. It's a sneaky situation with Trey Lance that people don't know, because Trey Lance he's in the option year, so Dallas will have to pay the option to get Trey Lance this year, right? So this is an option year for Trey Lance. And I've not heard anybody say this, and the only reason I know it is because I found out on Madden. You know what I'm saying? I was like, oh snap, he's an option year, right? But it's an option year for Trey Lance. It's an option year for Micah Parsons. It's an option year for the worst contract Dallas has, and they have to restructure this contract. It's the tackle. His contract is ridiculous. He's not very good. So still, they gotta restructure his contract all day. They gotta find a sucker to take him. So that's really he's $50 million against the cap. That number's against the cap, like $30 million. So Dallas has some cap issues that they got to figure out, and I think the biggest expense is that Prescott, 60 almost 60 million, 69 million. So I mean, that's a lot of money, man. That's a lot of money. I mean, he deserves it.
Well, when it comes to something like that, they got a couple of things to do. A couple of things. Either they restructure the contract and make it into a roster bonus along with a signing bonus, or either they let him walk, one of the two. Now Trey Lance, if I'm Dallas, I trade him because you're already $20 million over the cap. So you trade Trey Lance to try to get a draft pick who's going to be a whole lot cheaper. Maybe you can get a quarterback. I know you still got Cooper Rush on the roster, so maybe you can get another quarterback and go from there. But you got to do something because you're $20 million over the cap, and Dak accounts for $69 million of that. So restructure his contract.
I think you have to reconstruct it, or you either get rid of that and you roll the dice and trade.
Yeah, one of the two. One of the two.
Well, the issue is this, and this is something that Jerry has to take into account. I think they're taking into account too. We gotta go. They're taking into account that the beef that's going on right now between Dak and Michael Parsons and some of the other guys on the team. So that's what we got to keep an eye on. With both brothers saying, "Hey, I don't want you on my. We don't want to be on the team with him, and I don't want to be on the team with him either." So that's something to keep an eye on. I don't know if it's just to keep Dallas relevant during this time. You know, they're not in the Super Bowl. They're not in the playoffs still, so I don't know if it's to keep them relevant or what. But it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out.
Yeah, situations like that, Jerry. Just a little bit of advice for you, Jerry Jones. Just go ahead and have a steak dinner and bring both of the guys over. Let's sit down and talk about this thing at the table and get it in there and get it out of the way.
All right, let me get some inside information on this too. It's not just I said Michael Parsons, but it's the wrong name. CeeDee Lamb and Dak beef.
It doesn't make sense because CeeDee Lamb, you're all pro. You had your best year as an NFL receiver this year, and I don't understand where the gripe is coming in at, whether it's from Dak or from CD. But you guys are on the same page on the football field. The numbers show that. So you guys must sit down all away from the field, take the emotions out of it, take the macho-ness out of it, and let's get to the bottom line of what the issue is and play good football again next year because there's a lot of money for both of you guys to make because you guys have a good rapport on the football field.
Yeah, I believe so. I think it is. And don't be surprised if we bring in another receiver like Justin Jefferson.
I don't know about Justin Jefferson. He's going to cost, but I think they need to replace Brandon Cooks because I think he's going to be. He's $10 million. He's $10 million this year. I think that you guys probably could bring in another younger stud. I wouldn't mind seeing you guys draft a good young receiver to come in as well.
Well, CeeDee Lamb's mother, the one that said that Dak ain't it. And
that's troublesome. That's troublesome.
If Bubba saying that, that's a problem. You know what I'm saying? If Mama said that, and CeeDee's mama saying that, and Michael Parsons' brother saying that, that's a problem. This is a bigger problem right now.
Michael Parsons' brother basically said that his brother wanted out of Dallas. He said it on his account, but Michael Parsons came back and said, "That's my brother, and that's not me. So don't take those words to fruition." But overall, when you look at it, King, from a perspective, I'm not a real big fan of family members talking about other players when you're not out there on the field. I think you should allow the players to express themselves. And if you're a family member, at the end of the day, you're a fan.
I would say this, though. If Mama's saying it, though, Bo, we all know if Mama's saying it, might be some credence to it. You know what I'm saying? If Mama's saying it, you ain't going against Mama too many times, though.
If Mama done said it, she done heard an echo from somewhere.
That's what I'm trying to say. And listen, and if you're not going against Mama too many times. I don't know a lot of guys that go against Mama too many times. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, before I go against my mama, I just keep a zipper on it.
That's what I'm trying to tell you, man. So Mama saying Dak ain't it, isn't it? That to me is a bigger deal than Michael Parsons' brother saying. You know what I'm saying?
It is because that's insight, intuitive insight. That's at the house.
Yeah. So I think at the end of the day, we're gonna have to see how that plays out. Never a dull moment in the Cowboy Nation. Never a dull moment. Even when we lose, it's still an exciting time. And to the people that's watching, man, we appreciate you guys for sticking with us tonight, man. This is probably the longest show I've done on this one. So it's almost 10:30. Bo, it is last day. So we talked about everything. We got Doc out. We got Dak out. We got the playoffs in. I think we reached everything. We talked about the AFC, NFC. I think we talked about everything. Big news, Jim Harbaugh with Michigan. Did you tell me how you felt about that? Leads Michigan go to the Chargers. I think that's a big deal.
Yeah, I think Jim Harbaugh has an opportunity to be very successful over there offensively. He got a lot of pieces in place, but he's going to have to start rebuilding that defense. And typically, Jim Harbaugh, he normally have a good defensive coordinator on the sideline with him. All the teams that he's been a head coach of, they've been phenomenal on defense because he knows who to hire to run his defense for. So don't be surprised if the Chargers have an opportunity to make the playoffs next year. Maybe a wild card. They're only a bits and pieces away. They've lost like 11 out of the last 14 games by what, one possession
Yeah.
or 3 points. So they're basically in every ball game they play. Typically, they just need that leadership to get them over the hump. Brandon Staley, to me, I felt like he wasn't a good fit there. He lost the locker room over there. And maybe Harbaugh can win that back over and hopefully add more wins to it on the plus side of the dividend that will allow them to reach a wild card next year.
Tristan Thompson, breaking news. Tristan Thompson on the Cleveland Cavaliers has been suspended 25 games for drugs for violating without pay. He will get suspended 25 games without pay for violating the NBA's drug policy.
Tristan Thompson, if you know what you're doing, I'm not going to say shame on you, but I'm going to say get yourself together, brother. Hopefully you can rehab and get back out there and stay healthy from a mental standpoint more than anything from a physical. But if you didn't know that you could not take that, whatever you took, the drug, I would say you should always, like the doctors and your staff tell you, read into it and ask questions before you take anything. But if you took it and knowingly took it, hey man, hey, it's the NBA. Hey, you know they give those tests from time to time, and you took a gamble and you lost. And hey, be a better man behind it and try not to do it again, and try to tell other people not to do it as well.
All right. Green Bay fired their defensive coordinator, Joe Barry. He was fired, and they also fired another coach this weekend. They moved on for the strength and conditioning coach, and they fired their defensive coordinator also. So Green Bay's already making plans for next year, making changes to get situated next year. Green Bay firing their defensive coordinator. Listen, guys, and Bo, any other questions? LeBron, hey, I want to ask you about the Lakers. We get a chance to really talk about Rock, talk about some things. What you feel about the Lakers making the trade? The D'Lo situation, D'Lo crying after the game, or not crying, saying he's too gangster to cry. But being emotional after the game, after having this stretch where he's playing phenomenal basketball. Phenomenal. Do you still trade him?
Hey, I'm just gonna be honest. I think the Lakers need to make multiple trades. And one of them might be on the sideline wearing a three-piece suit, walking up and down, walking up and down in front of the players wearing a bald head, and his last name is Ham. Because I'm gonna be honest to you, man, I'm not sold on Ham winning in LA. Nothing with LeBron, but at the end of the day, I don't see him getting the best. We got a lot of young players, and I don't see him getting the best out of our young players. We're giving up too many points defensively. I will say this: they've gone on a stretch to where we're sub 500 again. But man, we've got to turn it around, and I don't see where the effort is there. I see people making bad passes, turning over the ball, being careless, and that's coaching to me. Because if you're a great coach, you correct that at practice or definitely in the film room. And I don't see that's happening in LA. Our defensive effort is not there, and it may not be 100% his fault because he has a say of the players that come in there. But I think LeBron has a say as well of some of the players that come in there. But at the end of the day, you're the coach, and everything falls on your shoulder to prepare the team for a victory night in and night out.
Lakers have been playing well, been in a good rhythm recently. They did lose to the Clippers last night. Great game, good game. I think something that after losing the Clippers, they do say. One thing I do say after this though, I think one thing with the D'Angelo Russell thing is that he said, and I think he's kind of proven. He's talked about the offensive philosophy of the Lakers, and ever since they kind of given him the reins to go ahead and say, "Hey man, play your type of game with the pick your high pick and roll with Anthony Davis, and be free." He's the last 6-7 games he's averaging about 30 points a game. So I think you have some there. I always said they should have got rid of Austin Reeves and Rui for the boy in Chicago, Zach LaVine. I thought it would be a great trade. Now I think Austin Reeves has lost a lot of trade value, and I think now you pretty much, if you're gonna trade anybody, they're gonna trade D'Lo. They talked about looking at Dejounte Murray out of Atlanta. And then DeMonte Murray goes on a game-winning shot spree. So now they're saying maybe even get Trae Young out of Atlanta for a swap with D'Angelo Russell. We see how it goes, man. There's some grappies in Atlanta with the Hawks also. So we see how that goes and how it goes with the Lakers. I'm trying to stay optimistic, but it's kind of hard with how some of the things are going. But I do like the way D'Angelo is playing right now. I think him and Austin Reeves on the floor at the same time is problematic because both of them like to dominate the ball. So one of them are gonna have to come off the bench. It's either gonna have to be Austin or D'Lo. And D'Lo is playing right now. You're not gonna put D'Lo on the bench, so you probably have to be Austin. So I say Austin Reeves is trade bait. To me, he's a glorified Jeremy Lin, and that's about the best I see from Austin Reeves. Nobody, I just think he's glorified Jeremy Lin. He might have some great games, but he's Jeremy Lin at the end of the year. That's all. So Austin Reeves, I'm trading Austin Reeves, and I'm trading a couple of players to go Austin Reeves. And why y'all try to join in now that the game, the show is over, guys? The show, we're leaving. We're leaving. All these viewers jumping on now and starting to watch the show. We're done. We're done. Thank you. No, we thank you for coming on, but we're getting ready to go. It's 10:30. I gotta go. You know what I'm saying? Bo, I appreciate you, brother. Last word, Bo?
Ladies and gentlemen, y'all be safe out there. Much love. Take care of yourself. Take care of your family. Enjoy yourself. Love, laughter, and once again, pray and peace be upon you.
Thank you guys so much for joining us. Join us again next week, 7 o'clock. We're trying to be a sharper on 7 o'clock. I gave you some extra time today because we came in a little late. So I gave you a couple of extra. Bo came in a little late. I came in late too also. So we'll give y'all a little extra time today. We're in 10:30. Normally we try to end this thing around 9:30, 10 o'clock. But we give y'all 10:30 tonight.
Seems like a plan.
Yeah, so y'all have a great night. We'll see you guys soon. Thank you guys. Thank you to Keith. Thank you to Terry. Thank you to Aiden. Thank you to Rock for calling in. Thank you to all the people that's been a part of the show. We appreciate you guys. We'll see you guys again next week right here on the King Bo Show. Be good. Peace.
Peace.